Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Drinks and Discussions. Alongside our cast and crew, Megan, Marcus, Big Jake, and myself, welcome to Drinks and Discussions. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful evening and had a great 4th of July. We've got a lot to talk about this evening, so I hope you have your drinks ready and a couple of topics that you'd like to discuss, and I hope you're ready to have some feedback for some of the things that we are prepared to discuss as well. As always, we appreciate you guys watching Drinks and Discussions. Hello, everyone. How are you, not fellas, but how are you folks doing tonight?
Fabulous. How about yourself?
I'm doing absolutely great. Let me make sure you guys are unmuted. Go ahead and give me another mic check just to make sure you're coming in loud and clear.
Check.
Mic check.
Yep. I got you. Good to see all your smile faces. I don't know about you guys, but the weekend was so full of activities and it was so kind of longish to me. It seems like it's been forever since we had a podcast.
7 days.
It was a long one.
Well, it was a little long. Sorry to say that, but let me grab my drink too while you guys get it. And I will tell you guys also, I was going to do like an after party, and I know people were probably a little confused on why I posted the little horror story about the gentleman that I posted as a true crime thing. I wanted to discuss that on the after party, and I think it's going to be fabulous. But I'm going to hold off and do that maybe perhaps tomorrow or whenever I do the after party this week, because I want to start getting into some of the things regarding that and other true crime stories. Hey, Liz. And by the way, just so everybody knows, the reason I came up with that guy is because I work with people who live in Milwaukee. And we were just talking about something, and they were like, well, we've got some famous or maybe infamous folks from this area, and they told me about that guy was from that area, and I kind of was taken aback a little bit because I had never heard of this guy. And when I read it, I'm thinking, what in the heck? This guy was way off his rocker.
He's up there with the Eileen Warnoses and the John Wayne Gacy's and all those guys.
Yes. Uh-oh, somebody said, Jane said that she got called by a snowflake by some lady in another live stream. Jane, don't you know this is the only live stream you're supposed to go into? How dare you cheat on us? Hello, Fergie, by the way. Hello. Nice to see you as well. We've got some other viewers out there. Hello, everyone. Okay, let's go ahead and get the round table. I don't know if Trey's going to join us. I thought Vic was going to join us, and I believe Nick is going to be joining us as well. There's a couple of things that I know Nick wanted to discuss, but I really wanted to get Vic's perspective on one of the topics that we're going to be talking about as well. So, all right. The lady in charge, tell us what you are drinking this evening.
Well, I was going to let some people trickle in while I go get my drink.
Oh, we can do that. We'll start with Jake then. And Thumper, welcome, buddy. Nice to see you again.
I'm simple. I got Pepsi Zero this time.
Oh, okay, Pepsi. Okay. Pepsi free?
Pepsi Zero sugar, actually.
Oh, okay. Marcus, what you got, buddy?
I'm going with some Mountain Dew Spark.
Oh, that stuff's good.
Mountain Dew Spark.
Is that an extra spark with something in there? What's in it?
It's a blast of dew with raspberry lemonade. So, just to carry over from 4th of July, a little bit of a, barbecue-esque type beverage.
Okay. Crybaby Trump. Good to see you, Crybaby Trump. Crybaby Trump. You got into a debate with a sovereign citizen on this channel a few days ago and still have a headache. I do not envy you at all on that. Go ahead, Marcus. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I've got the Mountain Dew Spark zero sugar in the refrigerator, but I think I needed the real sugar tonight. So.
Oh, okay. You need a little pick me up, a little extra kick tonight?
Oh man, I need something.
Well, I'll try not. I'll try not to bore you to start or to boredom tonight, so you don't fall asleep. I promise to try to keep it as entertaining as possible because I hopefully some of the topics that we have are going to be topics that everybody can participate in, and I'm sure everybody will have a perspective of some sort. And by the way, Thumper 88, we were going to talk about the Ed guy on this one, but so many things happened that I wanted to talk about those, and we'll talk about the Ed guy on the after party, which will either be tomorrow or in the next couple of days. I'm not going to miss it. I meant to do it before this podcast, but we just got so busy, the holidays and everything else. I just didn't have a chance to do it. Are you seeing the chats in there, Marcus?
I am. What is it? What does it say? Marcus needed that hot tamale Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
No, I haven't tried. I haven't tried that one.
It's
I'm,
nasty.
I'm actually, I'm scared of that one.
It's gross. I drank it. No. Don't do it.
No, yeah.
It's not that it's like super hot. It just tastes awful to me. At least to me, it did. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but
It seems like you'd be drinking a bottle of hot sauce or something.
Yeah, I don't think that a hot tamale would be good in liquid form. But
in a way it did. But it's
does it taste like Fireball by any chance?
So me
kind of like a citrusy.
Asking the wrong person.
I think it was kind of like a citrusy, like a flaming hot flavor.
Yes, Flamin' Hot Cheetos is what it was.
Mm-hmm. I'll pass. Hard pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, I'll pass.
What is it that you're drinking?
Well, no, we were just talking. Chris Arctor said I needed to try that Flaming Hot Cheeto Mountain Dew. But
Except they don't come out with it. Go ahead.
Yep. Say that again.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just saying, hope they don't come out with a Funyun Mountain Dew.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I
was at Jungle Jim's the other day, walking down the fancy soda. They had like ranch dressing flavor, bacon flavor, mustard flavor. I'm like, man, this shit's gross. How do you make a soda out of something like that?
Can you imagine opening up a bottle of soda of Mountain Dew and you open it up and it smells like feet? That's what Funyuns smell like already. So why would you want a soda that smells like feet? That's just disgusting.
Have you ever smelled the bottom of a dog's feet and their paws always smell like Freedoms?
I have never done that.
There are people who like, buttered popcorn jelly bellies.
What?
Those are good. Don't knock those. I love those.
What is it? Jelly bellies?
Yeah.
Jelly bellies, they have like all
the-
I don't think
40 flavor.
I don't think I've even had a jelly belly.
Like a jelly bean. You ever had a jelly bean?
Oh yeah, I love jelly beans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what. Go ahead, Megan.
Flavors and good quality.
So Fireball will mess you up, Thumper 88, and I got a Fireball story. And did I tell you guys this before? Because we used to drink Fireball shots on the golf course, and then this one jackass, as much as we've been trying to get rid of it, he brings them in his golf bag. They're already frozen, and he normally plays in front of us, and so he'll leave like 4 bottles of Fireball on the tee box. So when we get up there, we all have to take the shot because their group have already taken the shot as well. Disgusting. I can't stand Fireball. But when somebody offers you a drink, no matter what, if it's free, you gotta take it, right?
No way.
Oh, yeah.
I have no problem saying no.
I'm not as manly as Marcus, I guess. I'm just not as manly. All right,
I think the reason when people get so wasted off Fireball is because of all the sugar in it, and like it's so syrup. It's got like a thick texture, so it's like all sugar and like maybe a little bit of whiskey, in my opinion.
Yeah, most liquor is a lot of sugar.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that, and like if you twist the cap off too many times and keep pouring it, as the night goes, you're twisting the cap off even harder because it can just get so sticky.
True.
I didn't know liquor had. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No, you didn't know liquor had sugar in it?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's
Oh,
in the
yeah.
fermenting process, I believe. They put sugar in there for the fermenting. But here's the truth. Here's a fact too, if you didn't know that. This is why alcohol by nature is a downer. It makes you sleepy, it makes you tired. So when you get drunk and you pass out, that's one of the reasons why you will wake up, because that sugar will kick in and you don't sleep soundly through the night. So when you pass out from the alcohol, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, I'm wide awake, even though I feel like crap, I can't go back to sleep. That's because that sugar is keeping it kicking in from the whatever alcoholic drinks, and especially if you start using mixers and stuff like that, it gets to be really high in sugar content.
Mhm.
You guys have maple bacon flavored coffee?
Maple bacon flavored coffee. That sounds so absolutely great.
It's
Mind you,
I-
tell me who makes it?
um yes, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Gavali.
Gavali, Javali.
Gavali.
You can get that on on the YouTube. Can you get that on Amazon, right?
Buy that at a grocery store.
Everything was shipped. So
I was like, I don't go to the grocery store either. We just did a ship from Kroger today too. I was like, please deliver my groceries. Hey, silly wabbit,
I
good
just
to see you,
sent
buddy. What'd you say, Megan?
I said I just sent my friend out to go get groceries.
So speaking of Megan though, what did you go get to drink?
You'd be surprised. I'm drinking the same thing I've had the last 2 weeks. I seriously don't drink very much. I'm not on here.
That's the same bottle? Oh wow, okay. Nothing wrong with
Hey,
that. Nothing wrong with
yeah.
that. Well, cheers, and everybody. I know we've got some vodka. I think Thumper's drinking vodka, and I know we got some iced teas out there. Cheers to everyone, including the chat, to a good podcast, and I hope you guys are ready for my great and very controversial topics tonight.
Excellent. Check
Hey,
your cell phone.
hello, Roman. How are you? And also, who else came in that we didn't say hello to?
Say hi to Silly Women. I didn't say hi to
I had a little
Crybaby
kick
Crest.
to it.
Hi, Crybaby. Hi, Crest. Oh, Freedom Fighter.
Yeah. Um, I don't have a whole lot of sports topics to talk about, but I do want to talk. Okay, but I do want to talk about something though. I want to talk about something kind of sports related, but it also is related to some of the things that we're going to be talking about in throughout the podcast as well. But first of all, before we do this, I have something very personal that I would like to relate to you guys, and I hope you guys will allow me this one moment. I have a friend. He was actually going to join one of our podcasts in the past, but got busy with work. He lives out in Austin, but he's also from Canada. I've known him since I was a single man living in an apartment. He and his fiance at the time lived below me. I became a really good friend. We became really good friends. I've gone to his family's home. Went to his wedding. I've been to his house when I was going through a divorce. I drove to Austin, and he allowed me to get drunk with him and his wife, and uh, sit there and talk my sorrows away, if you will. But I had some bad news, and he got some bad news that his father passed away recently. As we always do when you're a friend of the podcast, I'd like to take a moment, if we may, and just have a moment of silence for my friend based on the loss of his father. So if you guys would allow me that, I would really appreciate that. So we'll just give a moment of silence for a few minutes for his name is Kelly Tisdale. And again, this is for you, my friend. Our deepest condolences go out to you, and our prayers and everything else go out to you as well. All right, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. That was a shock for me to see that today. I wasn't aware of any type of health issues or anything like that, but when I saw it, I know we had to give him a shout out in a moment of silence. So I appreciate you guys allowing me to do that on here for my friend Kelly. Cheers to you, Kelly, and your dad.
Salute.
Thank you.
The stream keeps cutting out.
The
Yeah, I
stream-
saw that too.
Really?
It looks like we're back up. It looks like we're back up now, but it was cutting out.
Well, I put the on the moment of silence. I put the splash pad page back up there. Is that what you guys saw? Yeah, that's what I did. I just took our videos off and put it up there just because of the moment of silence. See how slick I am? I'm getting the hang of this little podcast technology thingamajig.
That'd be key to let us know.
I know. Yeah. Thanks, Megan. I apologize. See, it's always my fault. Always. Thank you, Truth Teller. And by the way, welcome, Truth Teller. I don't think I said hello to you tonight, but thank you. Veen, hello, sir. Welcome. And Roman, I forgot to mention Roman. Cameraman is here. Yes, if you're more than welcome to join us as well. Megan, if you don't mind, if you want to send him the link, it should be the same link always, isn't it? Or does it change?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
No,
Pretty sure it's the same link every time.
Yeah, it should be the same.
How did I get it to him last time?
In Discord, he should be in the. You could just put it in the Discord chat.
Okay.
I think. But let me. It's just kind of silly. I know it's silly, but I want to start by asking you guys. It has something to do with the Cowboys, which, by the way, I believe it's like 70 days before we get some football on TV. Thank goodness. I am bored out of my mind trying to find anything else, something
We're
else to
inching
watch.
closer.
Yes, we are.
Remind me to send you a meme about football.
Okay.
I need to send to you.
Okay. So there was a shooting, but I'm not going to talk about the shooting right now. But in the shooting in Illinois, the day after the shooting, the Dallas Cowboys had a promo that they thought, and I don't know. So I'm asking you guys, what do you guys think? They put a promo out, kind of talking about getting ready for football, and one of their sponsors is the Rifle Coffee Company. That is a gun theme everything for all of their coffee products. They thought it was in the best interest of the team to put out a tweet about a rifle themed coffee company a day after a mass shooting. What say you guys? I'm on the fence here, so I'm looking for a perspective. I'm not giving you my perspective, guys. I just want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the Dallas Cowboys? And they did receive some backlash out there, but I'm not exactly sure, how I think about it. I could go either way, to be honest with you.
I didn't hear about it. I only heard about the shooting earlier this morning. I didn't know anything about what the Cowboys did, but I actually do follow the Black Rifle Coffee Company. I haven't bought anything from there. I just follow their page. But yeah, I haven't really heard much about the cow. You said they posted something about the coffee company, or
it's a partnership that they're having, and they sent out a tweet. And I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know if you can actually schedule a tweet and then have it sent out on a specific day just to make sure it goes out. I know that there's some software out there you can do that for emails, schedule emails. If you want to send out the masses, you can schedule a live stream on YouTube. So I'm not sure if you could do the same thing with a tweet. So you guys let me know. And I don't know anything about the Black Rifle Company either. I have never heard of them.
I think you can set tweets to be pre-record tweets and set them to be posted on a certain day. pretty sure you can.
Okay.
I'm not on Twitter either. Haven't been on Twitter for a long time, but I'm pretty sure you can do that. So maybe that what they posted was like written out and set to be posted on what today. So possible.
So just high level, I'll read real quick what their mission statement is, just so that we in our audience have some context here. The Black Rifle Company serves coffee and culture to people who love America. They develop explosive roast profiles with the same mission focus they learned as military members serving this great country, and are committed to supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders. With with every purchase you make, they give back.
Give back to who or what?
I'm guessing these communities to support veterans and law enforcement and first responders. Black Rifle Coffee's roast flavors include gun-centric names like AK-47 Espresso, Silencer Smooth, and Motored Out. Other roast names include Freedom Fuel, Freedom Roast, Medal of Honor, and Blackbeard's Delight.
That's odd. It's an odd company to kind of associate yourself with.
I'd never heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about them a few years ago, and or about a year or two ago, and follow them on Facebook. Like I said, I haven't bought anything, but some of their stuff, actually wasn't roasting. It sound pretty good. But when it comes to coffee, I drink the cheap stuff.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was going to say, I like coffee. I only drink coffee black, but I like it to have, a bold flavor. So I didn't even know that Amazon makes their own kind of products too. And Amazon makes a fabulous coffee that I get on their site. It's really, really good.
Oh,
yeah, and you have the cowboys and rifles go hand to hand like grenades in hands.
I get it. I get it.
So Jane says she likes shooting and she loves coffee, so I'm not sure how she feels about it. And I'm gonna give Crybaby Trump for he hates the Cowboys.
But if for me personally, I'm not surprised, that something controversial surrounding the Cowboys organization. I'm not surprised one bit. When I look at the catalyst behind all of it. The people around here call him JJ or Jerry or So I'm not surprised one bit that there's some controversy here.
So I guess where I was leaning was because of what just transpired, a mass shooting involving a rifle, no less, that you would be somewhat self-aware and sympathetic to victims and not just about yourself and your brand for just one moment. That's why I'm just kind of like disheartened, because I just felt like they could have used this moment as a self-reflecting, let me do something more than just to be the Cowboys in the spotlight, because this is something I don't necessarily think that they should have wanted. I know all publicity is good publicity. I just don't like the optics of it. And yes, Flaky Jake, I know I did not last week, but I remember you are Jane this week, Flaky Jakey. Or Flaky Jake. What say you, Mr. Big Jake?
About them posting that after the shooting, I think I don't know if it was too late. Maybe if they knew about it before their post. What time did their post go up? Was it before it hit the news? Was it after? Or was it?
It went out today.
Well, I know, but I was just saying if they knew it happened before it went to the public, maybe they should have went to their Twitter and have been like, oh, let's not post this. But I don't know if they could have been able to do that. But yeah, I don't think posting that after a day after a shooting. I mean, that's like you said, that's pretty bad PR right there. It doesn't make you look good.
Right.
Oh,
Even though
but
I
we're talk-
am, go ahead, Marcus.
oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I was just, go ahead. I want to hear.
No, I was just gonna say, when you said it's a bad PR move, and the red lights in my head just go off because that's all Jerry Jones is about. He's about good PR and he's about bad PR. All he really cares about is PR. He doesn't really care. So now, people at the end of the day, people are talking about the Cowboys. So he's happy.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not saying that I know the cameraman. You put something out there about the company is in Texas, and they are veteran owned and all that kind of stuff. But in my mind, you could be a veteran and still be sympathetic to people who are, going through something, a death or, a mass shooting. And yeah, mass shootings happen all the time in America, but that doesn't make us desensitized to it. In my mind, I'm not desensitized.
Yeah, what's sad is I think that's where we're headed with this thing.
Hello, Paladin. Thank you for joining us as well. I think we've got some. Oh, we'll see Alan. Hey, buddy. Good to see you as well. Good
Definitely
to see you guys.
scary. When I got on, I saw that on the news. I'm like, man, other one, you got to be kidding me. And of all days, like, and at a parade full of kids and elderly folks, like, I mean, I saw a picture of the guy. He just looks like a cracked out meth head, backwoods hick looking dude. So it wouldn't surprise me. But
Well, thank you, Jake, for bringing bringing the segue home. That's a great segue to get right into it. Megan's back. Let's talk about it. Liz,
nothing against backwoods people. I lived on a farm for 6 years, so I mean, I'm no different.
So Jane, the shooting happened in Illinois, in case you guys didn't know, and it was don't remember if I recall how old the individual was that caused this tragedy, but he was a young kid who was under investigation for an attempted suicide in the past, threatened to kill people in his home in the past, but he didn't have guns then. He only had knives and some other things that he could have used to kill them, but he didn't have any guns at the time those things happened. So the red flag laws did not take effect. So the guns that he owned were all legally obtained. So that's what you have at Highland Park, Illinois. And when I first saw Highland Park, when I was watching it, because we have a Highland Park here, I thought it was in Texas.
Yeah, I did too.
And so that's what really kind of got me watching it. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, thank you everyone for, I mean, not thank you, but I was kind of more relieved that it wasn't our community that this tragedy happened. But still, nonetheless, still tragic. But what say you guys? Is this another reason that we need to start talking about gun laws, and or is this a mental health issue still kind of a thing? What is this? What do you guys think? Where does the discussion need to start here?
Well, I think it needs to stop with discussing and actually start doing. We've been talking about it for decades.
True story.
Put a vote out, just let the people vote on it instead of.
But what would you like to see in legislator? What would you like to see in the legislator that says you feel comfortable about where things are going as far as gun control or mental health issues or whatever? What would you like to be discussed in order for some type of law to be discussed and voted on?
Well, I think it stems from the parents not being able to spend as much time with their kids. So I mean, it'll be wages, cost of living, all that stuff first. But that's a huge picture. So I guess it would be more like just a minimum common sense laws that everyone or 80-something% of the Americans agree on.
Mm-hmm.
At least voting Americans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's really all they pulled. And people need to go out and vote. I don't care who you vote for, even if it's against whatever I believe in. Vote.
Gentlemen,
Marcus, floor is yours, man.
Oh man. Looking at something here. Well, for starters, I mean,
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Marcus. I
I don't
can
want-
barely hear you. I just wanted to tell you
Can you-
before we started.
okay, can you hear me now? Is that any better?
Mhm.
Little bit, no.
I can
You
hear
can
you.
still
What,
you used to go higher, but you're fine, I guess. I don't have headset on. That's
No, and I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I mean, I'll just qualify by saying, when we talk about what can be done, or what we think may need to be done, we're not saying that people need to have their guns taken away. That's not the objective here. The objective is just simply tighten the rules. I mean, we've got to. There's something can be done. What that is, I don't quite. I'm not sure I quite know what that is. But something can be done to tighten the rules, and perhaps even minimizing, limiting, or even preventing certain firearms from being made available to the public.
Before you go chime in, Big Jake, let me just say something. And I know I have said this before in one of our previous podcasts. This never makes sense to me when people try to use a mental health issue regarding these types of situations. And let me tell you why. To me, I could go and be the simplest, the most lovable, affable guy you know. My wife could break up with me, say she's going to divorce me, or I could walk in and find her in bed with another man, and that could trigger me. And if I have a gun at my disposal, I can go in, blow her head off, or his head off, and then go on a rampage because I'm so mentally distraught. I might think people are in the know. People knew this, and they did this intentionally to me. People can get triggered by just the smallest things and have no self-control over that anger. So it could have been he was a perfectly, I know he had some issues at home, attempted suicide. I'm not talking about this specific individual. But there are things that can trigger people in a snap of a finger, that they can go from a sane individual to an insane individual. And if they didn't have these weapons of mass destruction, I think that there would be a lot more people alive today than they are dead.
not really weapons of mass destruction, though, right?
Right. And crybaby Trump, and there were people who had guns there. And this is the thing too. I don't like that whole argument about a good guy with a gun can stop a bad guy with a gun. Could you imagine some guy who had a good guy with a gun out there, not knowing where the shots are coming from, and then somebody spooks him from around the corner, he shoots that innocent person dead, could have been a child. Or if he's trying to pursue someone, he has no training to pursue, and just somebody else, or maybe he even drops the gun accidentally fires or discharges and kills another innocent person.
Or now the crowd, because they don't know where the original gunman was, now they think he's
the gunman. Exactly.
And now they're all attacking him. He starts defending, starts blasting those people in defense because they're all rushing him and everything, just like what happened with Rittenhouse.
Yep, absolutely. So that's another great point on why I don't like the good guy with the gun topic either, or bullet point, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I think Uvalde already proved that we can't rely on the good guys with the guns.
That's a true story.
Damn it.
I mean,
Boy,
I'm
they proved that
gonna
one
be
hard.
put that out there. I mean, all the police are like that. Uvalde just did it in, plain sight where everybody wasn't supposed to see.
And had it all on video.
If they can get away with not doing anything and never having to risk their neck, they will absolutely do everything in their power to ensure that that is the route they take.
Well, just think about it. You're in a small town of Uvalde. crime rate is not that very high outside
Wait,
of
wait,
maybe
wait. How
burglaries.
small is Uvalde? What's the population here?
It's like 15,000 people. It's a really small community.
Oh, okay. No, that's small, but it's still considered a city. So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, Matthew McConaughey was born there. That's why he went back there. So there's some people who are from that little small town. But when you talk about larger suburbs, it's relatively small in perspective.
Right.
So
It's still large enough to be considered a city, though. So there's a population there.
so you go into it, and I'm just thinking from a police perspective. If I'm going into it and I'm at this small town, the biggest call we have is Mrs. Johnson's dog gets out occasionally, and somebody thinks it's a burglar in the backyard. We have to go take him back to her, or you get some speeding tickets, or you get some drunk drivers, robberies. You don't think you're gonna ever pull your gun out in order to take someone's lives because your life is on the line.
No, but
But hold on 1 second. I get it. You got it in your training is to do that. But if these guys were out of the police academy for years. None of them were rookies. Imagine going and having your day-to-day job and you say, well, I know I'm supposed to know this is supposed to happen when it happens, but it never happens in the 15 years that you're on the job, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're on it. You're not prepared. And I did think I heard this. I think I did hear that they had just completed another round of training for these types of situations. So it should have been. It should have been fresh on their minds. Why it wasn't, what they did, I don't know. But
why they sat out there for as long as they did and did absolutely nothing. The person who was supposed to be in charge derelicted their duty completely. I mean, it was a shit show from top to bottom.
Yes, it was.
And I don't think it's the exception. I think what we witnessed was the rule.
So you think that this happens more often than not when it comes to these types of school shootings? Well, let me tell you something. I didn't see that in Illinois. I saw these guys really do a great job in actually finding this guy relatively quickly.
It's a known public event. Had the police been properly doing their job, they would have noticed a dude with a rifle on a rooftop had they actually been paying attention and doing their job instead of stroking their egos amongst all the people.
But what about all the other people that walked in with a gun?
They don't say, and that's the thing. Rifles, you can break a rifle down, right? You don't have to have it the barrel and the stock all put together in order to carry it around. You can break it down, fold it, and put it in a bag so where it actually doesn't look like a rifle when you're carrying it around.
What I'm getting at is that the police when they were there in their official capacity. They weren't there to schmooze and rub shoulders and everything else. Realistically, they were there to provide security.
But he wasn't in the crowd. He wasn't on a rooftop.
Exactly, he was on a rooftop, which means if they had saw at least one of them had been doing their job properly, they should have had somebody on the roof so that they can see parallel to see if anybody else are on roofs. Just one person is all it takes.
I see in hindsight how you would say that, but I don't think that you were in a small town. I don't think any parade that I've ever been to has cops
You have a
scouring.
public gathering inside of a society where public shootings are becoming more and more the norm. If you aren't prepared for it, you're a victim waiting to happen.
Go ahead,
These
Mark.
things aren't new. They shouldn't surprise anybody. They should sadden us each and every time they happen, but none of this should surprise anybody anymore.
That I agree with 100%.
Yeah, no, I was just curious, and I don't know that anybody, well, maybe you may or not have the answer, but isn't it? I'm just curious if it's protocol that during a parade that there would be a police presence on the rooftops.
Yes, that is almost always protocol if that type of atmosphere is present.
Okay.
And it only would have taken one person for such a small area.
I don't know the answer if that's protocol or not.
They would have been on a hot roof and everything else, but you suck it up. You do your job.
Don't they have helicopters? Go ahead, Megan.
Oh, go ahead, Megan.
Did you finish what you're saying? Because I didn't quite catch the very, very end.
Yeah. No, I was finished. I was just basically just throwing it out there and just curious, if it was protocol during a parade of any kind that there would be a police presence on the roofs.
I think it would be a no gun event too.
Well, let me say this. I don't necessarily know if they're police, if that's their protocol or not, but I do know that when they have parades, they usually have local helicopters around. And nowadays they have drones that they can use for surveillance. That is actually, you can see the camera of the drone. You don't have to wait till the drone to come
Sure,
down.
good point.
You can actually fly drones around to keep things, so you don't have to waste manpower
They
on a
didn't
hot
need
roof.
just had a drone in the air giving
Correct.
constant overhead.
Yeah.
They didn't even need anybody on the roof, which just shows how much more they weren't paying attention to the atmosphere they were actually in.
Right. There are a lot of precautionary tales that you have, a lot of times after the fact, that you say you
Right,
wish you
right.
coulda, woulda, but that has nothing to
Well,
that's
what
no consequence to the people who've
when
lost their loved ones.
you let it happen again and again and again and again, and nothing changes on either side?
But then you go into a
At some
problem. Let me ask you this question,
point,
cameraman.
carrying as a regular possibility in daily life.
Well, let me ask you this question, because then you get into a point where people are always afraid of Big Brother. Big Brother's always constantly watching us, watching our every
Mm-hmm.
move, all those types of things. What say you when it comes to either Big Brother watching, or you sit there and say we could put legislation together in order to make certain guns harder to get when you are a person who is going after nefarious things? People
Here's the
who
thing
follow
on
the
that
law,
one.
people who follow the law, aren't afraid to show their ID. They're not afraid to do a background check because they know that they have nothing that's going to prohibit them from doing it. The sketchy people are going to be the ones who are not going to flock and go to the gun shows that don't
Right,
have background checks,
exactly.
so they buy them. So what do you say to that?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You can make any amount of legislation that you want. A person with the ambition, with the motivation to do something, will eventually find the means to do so,
Hmm.
regardless of what words are written on paper. The only thing adding more words to the paper is going to do is punishing those that are following the rules.
I I don't know if you follow the rules if that's punishment. Showing your ID is not punishment. Doing a background check
Well,
is not punishment.
what? No, you're right. It's not punishment, but owning or procuring a firearm in this country is a right, not a privilege. So to force me to identify who I am for doing something that's legal and lawful is a violation of law here. It's
So,
not it's not the thing that they're doing, it's how they're going about in doing it.
well, we've never adapted to the change with the Second Amendment. I mean, the Second Amendment was written for muskets, and also to battle against the British. It
Right,
wasn't
right.
for like just people having a whole arsenal in their basement. It's just so we just got to make little tweaks and changes. I mean, still have the rights there, but
I
maybe not so broad and not so. I mean, not our rights are not. What's the word? I'm sorry, I'm having a bad fatigue brain fog
Oh no, you're
day
good, you're
today,
good.
guys. But you know, in fact, I totally lost my train of thought.
Mm.
So, sorry, I'm only
You
half
were
here.
saying that maybe they shouldn't be so broad. Maybe the Second Amendment shouldn't be so
Yeah,
broad. Or
Hmm.
just
What
I mean, just
with you
um,
I agree with you on that one in that we need a new ratification of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to adapt it to how society is now. We've done it before in the past, so there's already precedence for this. Because either we're gonna have to adhere to the the wanting of how the laws were written for the time now, or we're going to have to adapt the paperwork to how we live now. One of
Hmm.
those is going to have to give.
Well,
you know,
it's a controversial subject, no matter what side you're on. Um, I don't believe this is a high-powered rifle, AR-15 type of gun he used. I think he was just a regular. I don't know what kind of rifle it was. Maybe somebody could put that in the chat. So it's not about, to me, what types of guns that you are um, allowed to have or what you're not allowed to have. I think that I think there needs to be some type of legislation passed that puts the onus on the manufacturers. I don't think that the gun manufacturers should just be able to have so many unidentifiable or just have so many guns just infiltrated into our society.
Well,
I think there should be a cap
okay,
on the things that they can manufacture per year. Something.
right,
I'm just
okay,
saying.
okay.
Something.
I think there should be
And
caps
so
on a.
this
Go
is
ahead.
another issue where uh, the idea needs to adapt to the times. So you think it needs to go to the manufacturer? Well, anything the manufacturer, as long as I invest enough money of personally up front, anything the manufacturer can do, I can do at home now. From blueprinting from the ground up to milling out from a solid block to a finished product.
But
What
then,
then?
And
but when you but when you
it
start
can't be
purchasing those
detected.
products, you get. Sorry, Megan. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add it can't be detected in the metal detector. It's even harder.
Well, there's no trace of it. It was never made by a manufacturer. I made it out of a raw block from idea straight to finished product all at home myself. The technology exists.
Yeah, but still, if you're buying all the raw materials, you'll possibly have a lot of eyes on you. They're probably going to be wondering, like, oh, he's buying all this. He's making
You just
weapons.
need a
That's
3D
another
printer
evasion
turned
of
into a
privacy,
CNC
though.
machine, and then you smelt down raw steel into an ingot. You shape it to the proper starting dimensions, and then you run the machine.
Let me put a twist on here for a little bit. You've had Congress bring in technology leaders over the First Amendment right of free speech on their technology platforms, Facebook, Twitter, whatever other platforms they were brought in there, because they wanted to know, what's the big deal of trying to either block someone or label the information on there as misinformation and all these other things, because it's free speech. Why aren't they bringing some of these gun manufacturers in front of Congress and saying, hey, with technology the way it is, why aren't you, and somebody put this in the chat, why are you not putting guns together so that we can actually identify who owns them, where that gun is at all times if we need to? And all it is just a specific database that says, hey, if this gun is fired, and if it's a high capacity type gun, and I'm not talking about going hunting or whatever. This is just off the top of my head, guys. Okay, but you kind of had some technology built into the guns that says, hey, if this is a AR-15, you have to make this code, put in this code in order to unlock it before you can fire it, so that it goes into a database and sits there. And at any time we want, if there's a shooting, we can look into this database and say, oh, this one was fired. It belongs to this person. And it wasn't at a ranch somewhere or some type of deer lease.
But
Now,
that's gonna cut into the manufacturer's, retirement. They can't.
yeah,
Right.
you're cutting into
Money.
profit
They
in
own
that
our.
one, and they're
They,
going to lobby
they
against
own
that
our.
hard.
And then you spend all that money on the technology, and you know starts cutting into people's,
Right.
like Megan said, what your retirement funds and your paid time off and your stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad idea, but just like with anything, there's always drawbacks
But
to it.
before we start adding new language and new rules to our piece of paper, why don't we brainstorm on something we could already do that's already allowed? Why not every single person that's capable and able, if they're in public, they need to have their firearm on them?
No.
Dumb idea.
What is this? Bonanza?
Not all of us can carry. Not all of us can carry firearms.
Are we
This isn't
watching?
why-
Are we watching Gunsmoke here? What's going on?
Oh, no. But it will totally be gun smoke for like the first couple of years. It will be like the internet come alive, but I think that will be enough amount of time for everybody to get it out of their system.
Well, no. Here's the deal. Let me explain something that frightens me. Now that you say that, my biggest fear nowadays in the society that we live in. Two things frighten me because of the guy I am. I'm afraid that I can go break up a fight between two people, hand-to-hand combat, and then someone else think that they or either a friend or thinking they're Captain Save-A-Ho and brings out their gun and shoots either me because they think I'm part of the melee, or they shoot someone else because that's their way of handing out justice.
And it was at this moment he knew.
He
fucked
fucked
Brought
up.
hand to a gunfight.
And that's another thing. If I'm having an altercation, somebody steps into my face and they think, man, I'm about to get my ass kicked by this guy. I don't want them to go and say, hey, this is stand your own ground state, so I'm gonna shoot this guy.
In a society where everybody has a firearm on them, there is no chest bumping and getting up in my face. You get close enough for me to pull out this weapon on you and shoot you, one of us is gonna die.
But see,
not everybody has a gun. Not everybody can handle a gun. Not everybody can afford a gun, and not everybody is allowed to have.
And then also, there are more people who
I don't agree.
And there are idiots and assholes out there.
I don't agree with taking away people's gun rights.
But hold on.
There are idiots and assholes out there who are dumb and trigger happy that should not have a gun.
I know.
Exactly what I was about to say.
Can you just imagine that for a minute, though? Can you imagine? Because remember, it's a right. Everybody that can, they can do this tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, if they all wanted to in unison, they could all just start carrying on themselves in public. Just
if we want to go with the literal
right now,
if we want to go with the thoughts of our founders, everyone would have a musket and a stack of bullets.
Yeah, but
except for not Marcus.
I would be happy to go back to the day of muzzle loaders. I love muzzle loaders.
Hey, wait a minute, Jake. Me and Marcus would be not a part of that little conversation.
No.
We wouldn't have a musket. We would not be able to have a musket.
No, I'm sorry. Even I would respect the dudes carrying around their muskets for their big brass balls, but I'm gonna have an AR and a 9mm.
Okay,
I'm
we're not going backwards. We're not going back.
You want to say
no,
it's
I
all
ain't
right?
going backwards either.
well, let me ask you guys this question. There was a person smarter than me, and I can't remember his name, that said this, and correct me if I stumble on the quote. If you have to sacrifice freedoms in order to feel secure, you deserve neither.
That would be Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson. It's Benjamin Franklin, right?
I
He
can't forget.
Gives up liberty for security deserves
neither. That's it. Yep.
I believe that's Benjamin Franklin. It might have been Thomas Jefferson, though. I get them mixed up with what they said sometimes.
And I had forgotten who said it, but it was I believe it. And don't take what we're saying here, guys, as being, something that we think that we're going to go out and vote for right now, because this is just Discord here. We're just throwing out ideas off the cuff, having conversation, mulling it around. And I think it's a healthy idea to just get multiple inputs on a subject, because it can also entice you to go out and research more about. There is a law, I think, in Congress that they're thinking about passing or voting on, that's going to have some type of stipulations or law in regards to people purchasing firearms in the near future. So, there's that.
The NRA would love it, though.
Even if the legislative branch did put something on paper, and even if the CEO signed it, I do not think it will pass SCOTUS. And then Marbury v. Madison takes over, and it is instantly null and void.
Well, we're talking about at least making steps, because then we can see who the problem is and who's blocking all this from happening. And maybe we'll come up with term limits for SCOTUS. Maybe people will select their... Hold on. You've interrupted me so much tonight.
Oh,
I just want to finish one thought.
So sorry.
I know. I just want to finish one thought, especially since my thoughts aren't working today. But maybe if we do go through and at least try, people can see like, well, shit, my senator is blocking something that I want to happen, so I'm not going to vote for this asshole. And maybe people are gonna be like, you know what, Supreme Court, they gotta have term limits. This whole like being on there until you die, that's not working out for us. Right. And maybe that will change. We gotta make changes somewhere, and it starts someplace. We can't just be like, it's impossible, so let's not even try.
Right.
And before you start, Carrie, man, just real quick. Listen, guys, I know you guys are in the chat and you're trying to participate as well. We're trying to come to some of the things that you guys are talking about in the chat, but we're on the panel and we're trying to stay engaged with the people in the panel. That's why Liz is there, and if you'll see Megan sometimes engaging you guys on the chat as well, that's what they are going to try to do, is try to incorporate you guys' chats into what we're actually talking about here. There's a link. See, Alan, we've told you, if you want to go on Discord and be a part of the panel and have a voice within the actual panel itself and not in the chat, feel free. But don't cry about it in the chat, because can't catch everything that you guys are typing.
I mean, I haven't even seen that much that C. Allen has put in, and I've responded. So I don't know why you're mad at C.
I'm
Allen.
not even
sorry.
watching chat.
I wasn't paying too much attention to it either. But go ahead, cameraman.
No, I was just gonna say, I hear this a lot with people saying SCOTUS needs term limits, and I always have to point this out to them. SCOTUS does have term limits. The only branch of government that is, the three branches, the co-equal branches, the only branch that doesn't have term limits is the legislature. The CEO and SCOTUS both have term limits. SCOTUS's term is life.
Yeah, we're talking about changing laws and
But
changing
they should
and
go up-
amending the Constitution, and maybe
But what I'm
thinking of
saying
it as
is
a
they
whole
do have
nation.
term limits. Their term is set at life.
For someone
add
who's not
term
very
limits
privy
to
to
it,
these
it's
We're talking
things,
about-
what is
We're
What is
talking about
SCOTUS?
changing
Right.
Supreme Court of the United States. We're
What is
talking about
SCOTUS?
changing that.
I've never
Supreme
Supreme
heard
Court
of
of the United States.
Okay, I've never heard of
SCOTUS,
that before.
POTUS, VPOTUS.
I think the people on the Supreme Court should be up for re-election, just like our Congress people are. They should have
Well,
to
they
go
weren't
in
elected;
and
they were appointed.
Well, that's
yeah,
that's true. That's right. Never mind. Forget
maybe
that.
a maybe a
They're
different
not
system.
politicians;
Yeah,
they're
that's right.
appointees.
Right. Never mind.
Maybe a different system to be able to decide how long someone can be there.
I would
I
totally
still
agree
say-
with changing the lifetime term and changing it to something that's way more manageable,
Mm-hmm.
like 15, 30 years, something like that. But this whole, you come in at, say you come in young, say you come in at 25. Now you live extra long. Let's say technology gets good. You like almost 200. I'm sorry, bro, but you need to go out to pasture. You done.
Wait a minute. How many people are riding in their car and they get behind somebody who's probably the same age as some of these dang judges on the Supreme Court, and you're like, this person should not be behind a wheel driving a car.
Right.
And yet we have someone who is going to change the outlook and the way we live in the United States for years to come.
For all of society.
Makes
I
no
also
sense.
don't agree with how many judges we have too. I think there's not enough representation
We agree.
on the.
Mhm.
I think there should be, like one per state, something like that. That's just my opinion on how the Supreme Court should be made up.
Why should a population of Rhode Island have the same amount of sway as, say, Texas?
Damn
it should
right.
be just
On
across
the
the board. It
judiciary?
should be across the board. One vote counts, and however many people get the most vote or the most whatever the word is, they win. Like a true democracy.
Yes.
Instead of this electoral college, or we choose, or this many.
Well, remember, we can always change the electoral college.
Yeah, but that
It's
takes
been done
changing the
before.
politicians' minds, and the politicians are being paid by the lobbyists,
That's where the
and the
problem
lobbyists
is.
are basically legalized bribery. That's all
Now,
it is.
before the politicians get really smart, right? Remember, the CEO, the president, and SCOTUS already have terms set on them, and all three branches are supposed to be separate but equal. So why aren't there defined term limits and lockouts for the legislature? Why do we have career politicians serving 40, 50, 60 years in the legislative branch?
Yeah.
I thought
No,
they were
I
supposed to be
absolutely agree.
equal. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, but you need to get smart. Otherwise, they're going to pull a SCOTUS on you and say, fine, we'll just legislate and put it on paper that our term is life now.
And then hopefully the people revolt and be like, this is not what we want. This is supposed to be a nation that is controlled by the people for the people.
As a society, isn't that what
People
we're already
that-
seeing on a regular basis? People losing their
starting-
mind and or revolting?
we're starting to, but there's a lot of people that are fear change, that are complacent, that don't want to rock the boat, that are lazy.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And there's some that are benefiting from how things are, and they don't
Big time.
want things to change because that would change
Mhm.
how things are going for them, and they are quite comfortable with how things are going.
And they got their claws in the mix, in the
Mhm.
candy jar, while all of us are out here going like, "Where's the fucking candy?"
Right.
Sorry, pardon my language.
Right, right.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And it's frustrating because as an individual, especially an individual who can't vote, it's like, well, what can I do? What can I possibly do? I mean, even when I could vote, what difference did that make? My whole state is blue because of one city. One city.
See,
The whole
just
rest of the
just
state
like
is red.
voting rights being taken or gun rights being taken away, I don't agree with voting rights being taken away either.
I absolutely agree with that.
Mhm.
So
That-
Now, while you're doing your sentence, while you're in custody of the state, yeah, you don't have weapons and you can't vote. But once you've done
yeah,
your time and you're outside of the custody of the state, my rights are absolute. They're non-negotiable.
they're not absolute.
That's the
It doesn't
problem.
it doesn't
Is
say
that we've
that?
become
Yeah.
lax as a society in saying what they can and can't do to us. So long as they're not doing it to me, the individual, they can do it to anybody else they want to, up and until they come
Some
for me,
people
and then I'm all up in arms about it.
well, some people are fine with it being done to them.
Yeah, that's true
Like I
too.
don't
Some
have a
are.
choice. I don't have a choice. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
they've
well,
completely
what are you
given
gonna
up
do
on
about
that.
it?
Right.
Mhm.
And I've contacted when I was in California, contacted them. I went through the channels and there's like, nope, bye. I can't vote, so they don't care about making me happy.
Well, I kind of agree, kind of on some of the points you guys are making, that we're at a time that could go either way, where people who are complacent and says, "Hey, anytime I vote, it doesn't make a difference, and things are going to hell in a handbasket. So why try now? It's over. I don't care. Nothing that I ever do." I know a lot of minorities get that same feeling. And no matter who we select, they never come back and do anything for the black community or the Hispanic community or the other minority communities. And then you get the other ones who are into the fear mongering, the MAGAs of the world, who think that, John F. Kennedy is still alive and running the world with Trump in the military, who are hell bent on bringing him back and having a different form of government where if you put Trump involved, he'll stay president and try to say things are stolen for the end of time. And who cares about term limits, as you guys were talking about? If you put him involved and back in the president's house, he would try to make it seem as if he should never leave. So we're at a standstill, and there was a poll that came out. I don't know if you guys saw this, that a lot of Americans believe that we are on the precipice of having more political violence in the United States.
Yeah,
I'd push it
I
beyond that. I'd say we're on the precipice of Civil War 2.0.
I
I'd
don't
say
see
we're
it.
a lot of us are just looking for it to pop off.
Yeah.
I see that
Mhm.
boiling
Yeah,
right
we're
beneath
we're at
the
the boiling point. We're
surface.
just waiting for that thing that pushes it over to the edge. When water boils up over it, them like last 3 seconds before if you don't do so, take it off the heat, it's gonna do something right
Right
now.
now, yeah.
Starts bubbling over and
Mhm.
steaming and everything.
Exactly. We are at that point where that can happen at any moment, and we are just as a society. I'm not saying everybody, but as a society, we are just looking and just waiting for that to happen so that we can just do the thing, get it
And
over
it's
with.
ironic. It's ironic because the Earth is doing the same thing too with its volcanoes. It's just kind of good timing on that, We're all just kind of like boiling over, ready to burst.
So, but
Yeah, yeah.
but regardless of all of that in the tension, who stops it? How do we get? And here's the thing: I keep hearing more oftentimes than not from the MAGA crowd is I feel that it's this way because of something without any type of factual evidence. I feel, and every other stream that we've been on, everybody says we're not here to protect your feelings. We're here to protect the law, rule of law, the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why the biggest people who are so quick to call someone a snowflake are the ones who are always crying about their feelings. And that is where I kind of get a little bit hot under the collar when people try to talk to me about things that are more about their feelings rather than actual fact.
Ooh, I might lose connection. I guess I got a storm coming over. That was a pretty big boom.
Did I say something that offended someone, Megan?
I'm reading back. Oh, it's just the your comment on MAGA people. But what my take on that was that is the people who are hard-headed, don't want to listen, like expand, and maybe think about listening to the other side. And MAGA people are just a good example of that. And not everybody's MAGA. Not everybody is like that in the MAGA universe. Some people will listen and will hear, but there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot.
I could.
What if
If you're a fan of Jordan Klepper, you would
right.
Right. I love that guy.
oh my God,
now what if I said that the founding fathers foresaw this coming, and there's even a quote that's passed around as a meme constantly about this. You're not going to like how we solve this either. But from time to time, the tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants alike.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't bother me.
Right.
But so how we solve this is that boiling thing is going to happen. And we are going to kill each other in spectacular fashion. And then we're going to get over it.
I'll be in Nova Scotia at that time. See you guys.
So what do we
Was
think
it Thomas Jefferson that said that?
It was either Thomas Jefferson or Ben Franklin. I get a lot of their quotes mixed up. It was one of those two.
We are quoting those two gentlemen a lot this evening. Stay tuned for more inaccurate quotes from either one of them.
Marcus, say what you want to say.
Hey, that could be a segment. The segment of inaccurate quotes.
I know, right? That's right. I love that.
We could have a few segments.
So what do we think will be the? I think the first Civil War. I think we kind of know at least the main reason for that one. What do we think is going to be the main reason, or will there be more than one reason for a second Civil War?
I think it'll be a whole slew of reasons, but there's no telling what the trigger point will be, what actually kicks off the whole domino effect. That could be any one thing, take your pick.
Well, I will play devil's advocate and go right into the heart of what I see. There's a lot of people who still believe on that same notion of the first Civil War, that this is their country. You don't belong here, and everyone else who is not of a certain color, you are subservient. You are taking a back seat to them. I'm not going to say majority, a lot of the MAGA crowd says these types of bullet points, these talking points, every time you hear them talk. And then when they get upset about something, go back to your country. You don't even belong here. You're not from here. Go back to where you came from. That is where we are in society, where if you don't look like me, you don't belong here. And a lot of people want a whole stake that this is their country and doesn't belong to anybody but them. And that is going to be the tipping point. That 1 degree that goes from not boiling to boiling point will actually be be predicated on something similar. Either be the border wall with all of the immigrants coming in, or it will be...
I think I just had an epiphany day after day happen when something egregious happens to lose their collective, just lose it.
Trump is the trigger point. If he ever gets convicted or even tried, that will start the Civil War, folks.
Oh,
If
I
that
can totally
doesn't
see that
happen, eventually, if that doesn't happen, it may take longer, but something will still trigger it.
When and what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in the court systems, and you're talking about to protect judges and attorneys. They're not designed to protect witnesses. So
from what could be done to them?
yes, for
Oh
what could
man,
be done.
they're completely underprepared.
Right.
They are never gonna see what's gonna happen.
I'm hoping that Trump never sees the light of day in a courthouse. I just want to put him in a position to where the man is too dangerous of a person because of all the hate groups that want to align with him. All the hate groups that want to align with him. Talking about you being a Republican themselves with anyone, whether it be Trump or it could be your neighbor, your best friend, who aligns themselves with people who hate other. I can't get down with you. If you're a black person and you think that all white people are evil, I can't get down with you. So until we have somebody who sits there and says, we can no longer have a president that tries to
just by association, they just all got eliminated by your logic. They
Well-
can't hold office.
Well, hold on a second. That was before my time. I know you're a little older.
I know.
I don't recall.
It can cut both ways
But
because who's in charge of the lever of who says who is a hate group.
But that's why now you see. Remember, I think you should remember. All you guys should remember this. Remember, there used to be endorsed groups that they really weren't being. That the person that they were endorsing didn't want their endorsements. So now you start seeing when they have these political ads, you see the candidate kind of stuff. I do recall that there have been people who have denounced people because of their whatever affiliation with the extremist movement, whether it be right, or extremists on the right or extremists on the left. That I'm all good for. I don't think that a land of lollipops and gumdrops and sugar plums. Are we buffering on live? I haven't seen anything buffering. Is anybody buffering?
I haven't. Oh, you know, I haven't.
Everybody was
It
there
was-
for a minute, but we're back.
Yeah.
Connection. You know what I want to do? I think this is up when I go Bluetooth.
Cameraman, you should put up an avatar to you look like just a blank screen.
Oh no, I
Okay, I'm just changing everybody. Pew pew. Heavens to Megatroid. Remember that guy? No, I think I'm getting. Never mind. I know. Well, I knew Martian. I was trying to do Marvin the Martian. I see you guys watch the stream. I'm turning my stream off on that too. But let me know if when I shut down everything else on this PC, if it starts buffering again. I was saying, I vote for both. I'm saying the audio was out. Well, Flick, but All right. Everybody's saying it's fine now. Hopefully, you guys, you can hear me. I Obi-Wan Kenobi I thought was good for the first 2 episodes, and then it got really, really bad at the end. Yeah, it's on Disney. Yep. No.
Do you have the Pirate Bay?
No,
That's-
but Brian
that's my
knows
cousin's
what I got that I can play it on. Not even gonna mention it because he hates it.
Apparently, nobody can hear me.
Just saying, anytime I get asked to purchase a subscription, I just go to the Pirate Bay and they just give it to me for free.
Uh-oh. Liz,
I
can you hear me?
know that one.
Can you?
I can hear you,
No.
Marcus.
Okay. I'll make sure you-
There are people who are up to date on technology, cameraman, and don't use Cody. But do you use do you use Plex by any chance, cameraman?
No, I don't currently. I used to run my file server in that just through like TCP, just basically just a file transfer system in that. But I've been thinking about trying to take my file storage system and turning it into a Plex box.
That's what I have right now. I have a like a 3 terabyte gigabyte, 3 terabyte drive that I have connected to like a little small mini PC that sits behind everything, and I use that as my Plex
Anybody
server.
hear me?
Yes, I think
I can hear you.
I think I fixed everything, Jake.
Everybody's saying in the chat they can't hear me. How about now?
No.
Anything?
Keep speaking.
I know you
I
guys
can hear
can.
you.
With how you
Oh.
can set up
Okay.
the little accounts and stuff for access
not-
to your Plex server,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not muted.
that's really interesting.
Yep.
So this is I'm gonna give you a link in Discord. This is the hardware I've been looking at as far as what I'm gonna be putting on a Plex server on.
And then make sure you have a good VPN that you put on that Plex server so that everybody doesn't have access to anything you
Make
don't
sure
want them to have
you
access
got
to.
a lot of bandwidth. 'Cause
Yep.
You're gonna chew up bandwidth. Make sure you're on fiber.
You know
That's the
what?
best thing to be on.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because somebody might be watching something on my Plex server as we're trying to stream right now. That's probably why we're buffering.
Exactly. It just might be, and they're eating up your in-out bandwidth. Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
Hey Vic, how's it going? Vic, we had just some. It was the stream started kind of buffering as we were continuing on with some of our topics, but we think we kind of got it all sorted out here.
Check anybody in the chat. Can anybody in the chat hear me? How about now? Just waiting for responses.
Yeah, Crybaby. But Windows 10 has a built-in VPN, but you don't want to use it.
No, you don't. It is. If you're,
I use ESET.
I use Nord.
I use something that I'm not going to even tell you guys about it, but I'll tell you after the fact.
Yeah, realistically, you want to use a VPN depending on what you're doing, and yes, you're gonna pay for it.
This is what I'm showing you guys right now. This is what I use on all of my
I heard
PCs.
Nord is one of the top ones.
It's expensive. This one is less expensive, and you can get it for like $30 a year. Nord, it's like $30 a month. Norton VPN is like $30 a month. But always don't use the built-in VPN in Windows ever. Go with an outside one, and then you'll be great. Good to be better. All right, guys. You guys ready to move on to something different? Do we want to talk? Do we want to talk about the 10-year-old, or do we not want to talk about the 10-year-old? I think that Megan's giving us that view right now where she scratches her head. She goes, I don't want to talk about the 10-year-old. No?
I
Yeah,
don't remember. I'm just really tired.
I'm not up to
so
speed.
Don't worry about me making.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I'm
okay.
not up for it. My eyelids are.
Sure. I mean, let's hear about it. I didn't hear about it till just now. What's
Me neither.
Well, two things. I'd love to talk technical with you guys one day too. We should probably bring that in one of the things. Proton has a free VPN. Never trust a VPN that's free. Write it down, take a picture, rewind it, play it back. Never trust a VPN that's free. Because what some VPNs will do is they'll tell you they're masking your IP address, but they're not really masking your IP address. So do you even know how to check to see if your VPN is working or not? Mr. B or anybody else?
no?
Well, I'll tell you. There's a website that says, "What's my IP?" You can actually put that in, and it'll tell you what your IP address is right now from the machine that you are. And your ISP gives you an outside IP address. It's not your internal IP addresses for all your PCs. So your one IP address that comes to your house, to your specific modem, with your MAC address to your modem, that everybody, if somebody calls and says that this person is doing child porn or making threats online, that's how they identify you. Your IP address and the MAC address to your modem.
And you use a VPN to hide that.
And
or
you
several
use
VPNs.
VPNs, yes, because a VPN will, if it's good, it will say that your outside IP address is actually in Florida, or it's in this state, or it's going to be in a different country, so that they don't know.
One VPN going into another VPN, going into another VPN. You get
That just creates loops so people can't actually really track you. Now, the reason why this is important is not for nefarious things that you want to be able to hide from the government or anything like that. What it's designed to do is to protect you, so when you are on your banking sites or you're with your other types of sites, that no one can actually use your internal external IP address and try to sniff any type of traffic that you're on. Now you have SSL certificates and things like that, and TLS, which are all encryption keys behind websites. But those only are for that particular traffic. But if somebody's actually getting into your IP address, they can actually put information on here that'll get your keystrokes. They'll know, they can probably put in some spyware that'll actually be able to take control of your camera or your screenshot, or do screenshots from all the things that you're putting in. So regardless if you're sending that traffic over TLS or HTTPS, they can still get that information. The banks and those types of entities only do the bare minimum when it comes to protecting your data. They expect you to do the rest.
And if the terminal you're at is compromised, it doesn't matter how many layers of anything you put yourself behind. The terminal you're at, the box, the laptop, the desktop, whatever you're using, if it's compromised, it's compromised. Don't use it. Doesn't matter what else you do, it's compromised.
Absolutely. Don't just get a VPN. Get some a malware software and an antivirus.
Exactly. You're gonna pay in today's day and age. You're gonna pay to be safe-ish on the internet. You're gonna pay. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is.
But I could talk about technology all day, but I don't want to bore you guys with that. I could do that as much as I do with sports. So if you haven't heard of the 10-year-old, there's a 10-year-old, and I don't want to talk about the Roe v. Wade discussion or anything, but this has something to do with it. There's a 10-year-old who was a victim of some type of molestation, and she's pregnant in Ohio. And Ohio now says you can no longer have an abortion. They are trying to force this little 10-year-old to have a baby. They are trying to get her, and they, of course, are protecting her identity. She's a minor, and all that kind of stuff. But what do you guys say? Do you think that a 10-year-old should be forced to have a baby?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
And this
Fuck.
is
Fuck
part of
no.
the ramifications of what happens when you take away 40 plus years of precedence without something else in its place to catch the things that would otherwise happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that should fall under the whole medical, like, detrimental to the health of the mother.
Exactly.
And it's funny because you always want to say, I saw the governor of Minnesota. I don't know, it's not Minnesota. What's the governor of, I think it's Minnesota.
Minnesota?
I think it's Minnesota. She's if it's a female, and I forget her name, but she was basically saying we have to put things in place to protect the vulnerable from these types of atrocities. But wait a minute, you can't stop gun violence, can't stop, mass shootings. You're never going to be able to stop these types of atrocities. These types of atrocities have happened further for as long more for far more longer. That's a wrong phrase to use. For a lot longer than mass shootings has occurred. Women, young kids being molested has been an epidemic in this country for all time. How do you plan on stopping it? And if you don't stop it, and little small girls and children are getting pregnant, how do you protect those bodies? Anyone? Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, they are so focused on, this narrow part of the subject. And it's like, what about protecting further on after birth? It's just.
Oh yeah,
It's infuriating. It's
They
infuriating.
care about it and want to fight about it tooth and nail up and until and the second that it is out past the vagina, and then they're like, okay, yep,
That's your problem.
It's part of the food chain. It's competition for me now. Fuck that kid. I mean, sorry about the language, but that's
fine.
literally what they're saying. Up
Yeah.
until it's out, they're like, man, forget him.
Yeah, they're not going to vote for 18 years.
Exactly.
And I'm going to put a
Why do
poll.
we care?
I'm going to put a poll up, and I want to know what you guys think about this poll. But go ahead, keep talking, because I want to know, when does life begin with you guys?
It's a hard one.
Y'all ever seen?
That it.
Y'all remember the movie Look Who's Talking?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them. I think it was like
That
three
was
or four of those
the-
movies, and then
the
the
sperm.
pets did it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
The sperm was talking, so
Yes.
I
Yeah.
guess it starts there.
I guess I would say at conception. I mean, that's what I believe.
Once the process is started, if that's the path it's going to take.
But at that second, it's literally just cells dividing.
Right. But it's
then,
a specific
now
type
when
of
does it start? Is
cells
it
that
the
are
heartbeat?
dividing.
Still, I've always
Well,
believed
but
that
then
at
we're
conception.
getting down to the nitty gritty on when it comes to like genetics and that subject in science.
Right.
Talk about it, but then it's like, cause there are other organisms that start out very similar, and it's not long after they take a
There's
turn
some
this way,
organisms that
or
start out already pregnant.
I think when it comes to
I
somebody
don't think
doing
they can get
something like
abortions.
that,
Exactly.
when it comes to somebody doing something like that to a 10-year-old girl, man, that shit just, stuff like that just gets me so fired. I just want to find out who that person is and just crack their head open like a walnut. Because what? I just can't find it. Why an older man has sexual attraction to a child? That shit just, it's beyond me.
Well, we don't know the story. Don't get too overly driven on this subject, because it could have been a mental health teenager, and people are so quick to blame mental health when it comes to gun violence. These types of things, more times than not, are also tied to some type of mental health issue. Now, having said that, I'm not making excuses for the jackass, because I'm with you. I'd rather crack his head open as well.
Activity.
But
Just saying, there's various shades of gray here.
Right. But my question to you guys is this. The body is a multi-organ creature. We don't rely on one organ that makes us human. We have to have a lot of integral cells and organs that create us as a human. Are we human without a brain? Are we human? Are we human without reproductive organs? Are we human without a face? Are we human without a lot of things that we normally contribute to being a human? So if you say we're a human, or we are alive, or whatever at conception, is that really accurate? I'm not saying that because I know the answer. I'm asking this, guys, just because I want to know what you guys think.
Me personally, I say no, but I completely understand the train of thought. It's a specific type of cells that have already been set down a specific path, and without interference, it should, by all means, produce a life.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't done by accident. I'm not saying that there isn't unconsenting parties in the mixture here. I'm just saying it's not something that happens by accident.
So if you believe that your life starts in conception and you're against abortion, what do you do and offer for our 10-year-old daughter, our 10-year-old child who gets pregnant?
I don't think that abortion should be gone.
No, I'm just trying to flip the coin and
yeah.
talk about the other side. If you're against abortion, what do you do in these types of situations?
Well, there's
Yeah,
only one thing left in that situation. She's gonna have to conceive or carry to term the child. If there's no way to end the pregnancy, biology will dictate that the pregnancy will continue. Nature doesn't wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to Mexico.
Go to Mexico?
Oh, you're talking about if I believed or if I was hardcore like
Right.
abortion,
Right.
Yeah,
not the
exactly.
answer.
Right.
By process of elimination, you've eliminated everything but having the child off the table.
Or forcing
Mhm.
a miscarriage, which is basically an abortion.
See, I'm
Exactly.
pro-choice, but I'm pro-choice, but a 10-year-old carrying a child, just their body isn't ready for that kind of
I
stress,
agree.
and
I agree.
they're not mentally ready, they're not physically ready.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
they're
it's
not
just
gonna.
like
You're
I was
already
what-
mentally
You're-
screwed because of the
right,
the-
and what I'm saying is,
Right.
like I said, I'm pro-choice, but if a 10-year-old is carrying a child, their parents should find it in them. They're like, hey, that's my 10-year-old daughter. We got to do something about this. She's not ready to have a child. So in that case, I think abortion should be available.
Right.
So they'll
That's
have to
just
go to
me.
California.
Right. They'd have to go hundreds of miles away from their home just to get the procedure done. And that's not right. By me. I don't think that's right. That's messed up. But
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to just discuss it briefly, because I wanted to kind of get you guys' perspective on, because there are a lot of people out there who think that there's no line in the sand when it comes to, or there is a line in the sand when it comes to abortions. Once you're pregnant, there's no biblical reason to have an abortion, because you're murdering a human being, a small baby. And I'm just grasping when I hear people refer to a underdeveloped life form that's not a human being. It doesn't have all the cell traits or the organs in order to sustain life on its own. Why people want to always call it a baby? It's not a baby. That's just my opinion. Is she in Indiana right now, Vic? Vic said the little girl's in Indiana now.
Yeah, she went to Indiana.
That's what I thought. I read that too.
Why Indiana?
Say again.
Huh?
Why does she have to go to Indiana?
Because
think Indiana
even
would
though
have
it's
super
going,
strict.
because even though it's going to be illegal in Indiana, they weren't a trigger law state, so there's a buffer time period before abortions will be wiped away in Indiana. So during this time period, she's still available to go there and get one. Ohio was a trigger law state, so as soon as Roe was gone, it was illegal in Ohio, just like Michigan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, I want to turn to something a little bit more lighter, if I may. I know there's a lot of different things, and I don't really want to get onto the biblical aspect of this thing, because nobody's biblical followings are going to all line up with everyone else's. So I would like to talk about that at a later time when we're talking about Roe v. Wade and how your biblical views impact your decision making or your views on Roe v. Wade. But we'll save that for another time. So I want to talk to you guys. And again, I see some new people coming in. No Vic's here. Demonstrably D. Good to see you. I think I even saw a Kim Tactic quote in here somewhere. I don't know if I was, dreaming that or not. Was Kim Tactic in there?
You saw it on Drinks and Discussions, the video, but not the side chat. So I think you got her blocked.
Oh, okay. Well, Vic Ferrari, we're good to see you in there. Appreciate that. And you're always welcome to the panel. I think I sent you a link if you ever want to come onto the panel. That the link's in your Discord. So here's one for you, and I'd love to hear. Let me see what. Let me first end the poll, and let me tell you guys the results of this poll. Let me end it first in the poll, and we have. Where does the poll go? Should I have just looked at that before I even? Oh, so when does life begin? We have a complete number of 13 votes that we've got 38% believe that it is at conception, 30% believe that when there's a heartbeat, and then 30% believe that it is at birth. So kind of evenly split, if you will, among the panel here. Thanks for participating, all 13. If we got 24 people, so we got at least 10 people, or 11 people that did not participate in that. But thank you very much. Appreciate that. Got some ghost viewers. Got some ghost viewers out there. Just kidding. So
We'll probably be recorded.
They are Russian.
Someday we'll be famous.
I'm going to ask you guys in the chat as well as on the panel, and I'm going to go around the panel first before I talk about what we're going to talk about. On a scale of 1 to 10, how honest do you think you are? Megan?
6.
Oh, okay. Jake?
About the same, 6.5.
Okay. Marcus?
Yeah, I was gonna say 7 for me.
Okay. Cameraman?
It would firmly depend on whom I'm talking to and under what context, but just anybody off the street, I'm usually, like an 8.
No.
I'm telling you things.
Yeah.
No context. As a human being, how honest are you in your everyday life?
Oh, overly honest, to be honest.
Yeah, but that include. Well, so I took it as including everything from lies to stealing, to cheating, to all that as well.
Everything, yes. I'm gonna go with like what Marcus said. I'm probably about a 7. I'm a 7 or 8. So the reason I asked this question, if you guys want to put what you guys think you are in the chat, feel free. I want to put out some things out there.
Put it as another vote, so they don't have to.
Okay, I'll
put
do
a
that.
Number next to their name.
I'll do that right now. How honest are you?
Fernando, I definitely included that.
I'm liking this poll thing, Brian.
Yeah, I like that it's anonymous. I think people will be more honest.
Right, whoever cheated on their income taxes, Flaky Jake said.
Oh man, income taxes. I've paid those
Yeah,
for 10
think
years
about.
now.
Oh, that's dishonest.
No, that's not dishonest. I've been retired for over 10 years.
I'm kidding. First of all.
Hey, Vic, thanks for joining us. He said he was hanging out with his 15-year-old son.
What are you retired from there, Cameron? Military?
Yes, U.S. Army.
Thank you for your service,
you.
man.
Oh, you ain't gotta thank me. Thank my recruiter.
Your recruiter isn't the one who went out there and did it.
Yeah, still, any service person who is in the military, anybody in the military, I always thank them. So,
Well, you're very welcome.
Okay, so the reason I asked this question is because I'd like to know what you guys would do. There's a guy in Mexico that received a paycheck. This paycheck was 300 times his normal salary. So in pesos, he was paid 165,398,851 pesos.
What's
That
that American?
that's $8 million in U.S.
Oh,
dollars.
bro, I would totally do exactly what he did. I'm gonna withdraw all of that into raw assets, and I am a ghost. You are
So
not getting that money back.
so here's the deal. They caught it,
No.
and they asked him to come in, and they reached out to him, and he responded and say, hey, will you come in so that we can actually make a withdrawal, and give that money back to the employer, blah 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 blah, straighten it all out. He said yeah, but never showed up. Never showed up. The
Yo.
guy is gone.
He's under no obligation to do
Oh
that
yeah,
either.
he probably skipped town and changed his name and was like, bye.
But remember, he's stolen
Damn.
pesos, so that's some cartel members like chunk of change. So they're gonna find him
Right.
some way somehow, but he's
Yeah.
gonna live it up while he got that money.
This guy better not have any family members in Mexico. Not a daughter, not a son, not a wife, not a
Oh.
grandparent, not anything.
Or he just, or he was like, F them people.
He could buy a new family wherever he's going.
Exactly. You can buy one and make one.
Start a new family.
They could fake all their deaths.
Wait a minute. Hey, you did say life starts with the conception. Was that tacky? I'm sorry. That was too soon.
Spoke too soon.
Spoke too soon. Too soon. But I'm curious because I would be hard pressed. So I always go through that whole thing where you get these kids that, you get these little sob stories when they show up, they find a little old lady's purse, it's got 30 grand in it, and they turn it in and the money's still intact, and they get like a $3,000 reward or whatever. I'm thinking to myself, would I have the fortitude to even turn that 30 grand in? I don't know.
If there was ID with it and everything else, yeah. If it's an individual, I'm giving them back the money. I'm really good about that. But like a employer, somebody that was supposed to know better, things like that, large amounts of money. I'm sorry, bro.
Now,
You should have known better.
Is the employer Walmart or is it a mom and pop shop down the street?
I don't think I got the information on what kind of company it was.
Oh, well, I'm thinking that with that cost or that payout, that's not a mom and pop.
Oh, that is
Oh,
Yes,
no.
true story.
No.
That is governmental or cartel related or both.
See, if I found somebody's bag and they had a wallet in there that just had a bunch of money in it, sure, I'd turn it in. But if I saw just like a plastic bag sitting on the side of the road or in a back alley or something, whether I don't know why it'd be in a back alley anyway, but my point is, if I saw that just sitting all willy-nilly and say behind a dumpster or something, I'm going to be like, should I turn it in or keep it? I'm probably going to keep it because I don't know
yeah.
who it belongs to.
Yeah, same difference. If armored truck is going down the road and money's just flying out the back, I'm pulling over and gathering up some money, bro.
It's like that wind tunnel machine that's got the money flying in there. You get like 30 seconds to grab these dollar bills.
And I know that's a bit of a wild story, but still, that's kind of my pull on how I would go about something like that. I wouldn't steal somebody's money like that if it belonged to somebody. But go ahead, Megan. I'm done.
I've come across somebody's purse that had like their phone, their wallet with $500 some in it and everything. And my friend was like, well, you should just return it, just minus the money. And be like, hey, I know that you would pay all this money to get all this shit back that you don't have to replace. And I'm like, dude, seriously?
Take your reward before you get it reward.
But I had my wallet go missing, and I'm just like, dude, I don't even care if they take the cash out of it.
Megan, she dropped.
Did we lose Megan?
Yeah, so what the hell? What happened? She lost her connection.
Oh, the CIA got her.
That happened to me earlier.
There she is.
What happened to you earlier?
My connection got lost on my end. I didn't know if you guys saw it or not. But
I did see that. I just thought you had to go to the restroom or something and come back.
I cut out, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Cool. I have no idea what part
I
either.
thought the Men in Black got you.
Yeah, you were talking about this. You were talking about the self reward.
Oh,
Oh, the finder's fee.
no. No, they didn't. They didn't give me a reward for it, but I didn't mind. My friend's like, "See, you should have taken the money," and I'm like, "I was fine without it before. I'll be fine without it now."
No
So
loss on
it
your
did.
part, right?
Yeah, it's no loss on my part, and I made someone's day. So,
That's in
and
itself is a reward.
that money went towards like bills. That person wasn't loaded. So, I mean, I'm not
That's what I would
I'm
struggle
not
with.
looking for a reward.
I would struggle with that too.
Really?
If you took the money, and somebody really needed it for like their, even if it's 30,000, somebody could have been using that for their first home and they've been living on the streets, or look for their first car. They didn't want to have a big car payment, so they used this for their as their life savings or help a loved one, burial expenses. That's kind of why I'm leaning toward I would always return it, and I don't look for rewards. I'm the kind of person that does good deeds not because of what I feel is going to come back at me and as for a reward from them, but I'm one of the guys I'd like to feel good about myself. I'll open the door for an old lady if I'm seeing her still. I didn't do it so much in COVID, but if I see a older lady or even a couple that's actually loading groceries at the grocery store, even in there in the handicap section, I'll stop as long as I don't have my small child with me. If it's just by myself, I'll stop, help them load their groceries, or if I see them pushing the basket back to wherever they need to go, I'll grab the basket from her and from them, and move it along, and so they don't have to do it. I'm not looking for a reward or a tip or anything like that. I think people need to, and I think in this society, we're always looking for someone to pat us on the back or some type of notoriety for doing something good. But my dad always used to say, "Don't be rewarded by the things you're expected to do." And I think being nice to people should always, always do it, not because of a have to, but because they want.
Yeah, can we do something about Kim Tactic? I'm not doing that here. If she's gonna start shit, I'm out of here.
I'm gonna let her. I've told her once, give her a chance, and then if not, yeah. But I mean, she at least deserves a chance. I said what I said, and I'm just like, hey, not what we do here.
I've completely disassociated from that stuff. I'm not doing that anymore.
And just to answer to keep it moving. Mr. B asked me a question in the chat: if would I open the door for someone with a MAGA hat?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, of course I would. I'm not. You don't have to. Just because you have a MAGA hat on. I got a lot of friends I golf with that love Trump. Think he's the best president ever. I don't hate people.
That doesn't mean you have to agree with them.
Right.
I don't start an argument every time I see that person either. It's not always like, why? What is wrong?
But if you're feeling like the argument, you know exactly how to get a good one started.
Absolutely. If you want.
Unless you know that person is somebody who's not able to have a conversation.
Oh yeah, don't accidentally pick the quiet guy, that's gonna blow everybody away at the golf course.
Like literally, and just to put this in more, I know it's a joke, Mr. B, and we're making fun of just the whole optics of talking it, right? If the whole optics of having someone show up with a MAGA hat. They're welcome to be on this panel. If you want to wear a MAGA hat on this panel, feel free to do so. But I've got a lot of people, and it's funny that you mentioned that because when I'm done with our golfing, there's a group of people at the course that sit around in the clubhouse and they're drinking and hanging out. And this one guy that I know, he's a very popular person. By the way, I'll tell you a story real quick too, a little small segment I won't talk about it now. I played with another ex-football player this weekend, Marcus. I'm going to tell you about that. But anyway, and more times than not, on the golf course, you'll see the big Trump flags, but then there are people who have the Go Brandon t-shirts. And when they're done golfing, you can't wear them when you're golfing. They frown upon it. But if you're just kind of out there just drinking and it's getting ready to be late and they're getting ready to close, they don't really say anything to you. But people have the Let's Go Brandon t-shirts on there, and I still shake their hand, and they'll introduce me to people, and I'm like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to shake your hand because you get that shirt on. What kind of jackass what am I?
All right.
Marcus, on the other hand, is a jackass. He doesn't take care.
He's like, oh, hell no.
No, see,
I still open the door.
Go all KMP.
I've got a lot of family members of mine that voted for Biden, but still, even friends. But at the same time, I'm still like, man, I don't care who you voted for. You're still my family. You're still my friends. I really don't care who you voted for. It doesn't
At
change.
least they voted.
Yeah,
Well-
at least you went out and voted for what you believe in or who you believe in. So
I promise you. Well, I promise you
Exactly.
guys, I'm not making this up. Marcus will vouch. The other guy that usually does our podcast when we first started, my nephew, cousin, Trey, is a big Trump supporter. And he is a regular host of this podcast. Loves Trump. Thinks Trump is the best thing ever. And a big time Republican. So just to show you, I even have Trumpers or mega people in my own family. I'm an equal opportunity jackass. I'll be a jackass to you, and if you're a mega or you're not mega, I'll still be a jackass to you.
Yeah, if I see a reason to clown on you, I gotta pass that up.
My whole family are Republicans. I'm the only non-Republican, and we're all on the same page when it comes to that. So it's kind of
yeah,
interesting that
we're
we still
all a big mixture. So it's kind of like, I don't know what side to pick. But like I said, I don't care who you voted for. We're still family.
Just real quick, I want to keep the poll going up because we got Vic Ferrari is in the house. Thank you. Welcome, Vic. But we got the poll because if you got $8 million in your paycheck, would you turn it in or would you hightail it out of there and disappear with your family? We've got 15 votes out of the 24. We're up to 30 people that were watching, but we got.
You're not giving that back without a court order.
We need a lot more participation. How honest do you think you are? There's a lot of people who are that 7 to 10. We got some 1 to 3s out there. I wonder who the 1 to 3.
Now, if it was in my paycheck, the way I'd see it, it's like if I kept it, I'm taking away from somebody else. And not to mention, they could find out, oh yeah, we gave him that money, so we could probably track where he went. But, like I said, I wouldn't want to keep it because I'd be taken away from someone else. And plus, I didn't earn it. I just want what I earned.
My question would be: is this considered embezzlement? Is it theft? Is it what crime does it fall under?
Or does it even fall under a crime? And am I legally obligated in any fashion to give this money back, or is it all their bad?
If it was their mistake, I mean, I honestly don't know because if they sorry, English please. If they made that kind of error, that's kind of a, like I said, I don't really know, to be honest with you. That's because it's their fault.
I'm definitely not giving that money back without a court order. I'm gonna use your own money to hire a good lawyer to make him fight for the money that you accidentally gave me, so that he can prove that I'm supposed to keep this money and still keep it.
I would feel bad because at the same time, like I said before, I'd feel like I'm taking out of someone else's pocket because some of that money that's now mine is helping pay for somebody else.
I don't know if they can afford to accidentally give you $8 million and it clears. I don't know.
And it clears.
Take away anything. They missed
but
it.
who's to say that they can afford to make that mistake? Just because that mistake was made.
Clear.
Well, hold on. I'm not finished yet. Maybe maybe it cleared, but maybe that's the only $8 million that particular company has that's keeping it going at that time. Just because it cleared doesn't mean they can afford to lose it.
Good point, because there are things called a letter of credit or a line of credit that companies work out of, including myself.
Right.
So the government, the bank will sit there and say, okay, you can purchase things in advance, and here is your line of credit that you have, even though you don't have that money in there. So if it's $1 million, they'll say, you have $1 million line of credit, so you can purchase things up to that $1 million. But if you write a check for $1 million and it clears, doesn't mean you have $1 million for that to clear. You got to pay all that money back.
See in the
We're
chat.
talking about if it cleared altogether. Go ahead.
Like, how would it? That's shaky ground right there. If it fell under theft, how are you stealing it if they made the mistake of giving it to you?
Well, I think it falls under theft as well, or embezzlement, because they're sending it to you, but you're keeping it under a false pretense because you know that it's not correct.
Yeah,
$100 over, you might not notice. Again, 8 million, you're going to notice, and you're keeping it. And now this guy has tried to ensconce to another country or whatever the heck he did. I mean, you guys are saying, hey, I take it and cut off all my ties with my family and all those things. So obviously, you know it's not right.
How about I run
Yeah,
a
that's true.
different hypothetical that's along the same lines? Let's say you're just walking around in public, right? And some dude comes up to you, hands you a briefcase, and said, "Here you go, I've delivered it," and walks away. It's a whole briefcase of money. It wasn't meant to come to you. He gave it to you. It's yours now.
Oh, I would
Theft?
tell him, like,
And giving it to
I'd
you.
sit the briefcase down and walk away.
no, I would tell the guy because maybe somebody with a gun to that guy's child's head is waiting for that briefcase. I don't want to be
Right,
responsible
but
for that.
you
I don't want to be any part
Yeah.
of that.
No
Mhm.
theft. Oh,
Yeah, that
but-
sounds kind of.
Yeah, that's a completely different scenario than a company you
it's
work
the
for.
same thing
No,
as
and
you
no, it's
accidentally getting
not.
deposited $8
No, it's
million.
not. No, not from not from a company that you know and you work for and you know what you're supposed to get. That's different.
Yeah, that is a little different. Someone on the street just handing you a case full of money, and then someone making a mistake on your paycheck. I mean, because like Megan said, the guy who handed you that briefcase might have a hit out on him, and he's
I
just,
think a closer analogy would be if you looked at your bank account and there was an extra $1 million in it and you didn't know where it came from. Is closer to your analogy of somebody handing you a briefcase. Now, in that case, would you contact the bank on what the error was, or just go on about your merry way?
I ain't giving that money back without a court order.
But that's 9999 has a very good point. Receiving of stolen goods is a crime, by the way.
Yeah.
I would want to know.
But
personally
is the
where it
money?
came
But
from.
the money wasn't received stolen. I mean, the company actually owned the money, so they gave it in
Right.
goodwill. It's a lot of It's a lot of
Exactly. That's why
fodder.
everybody gets
But
precedent
all-
set in the court.
All legalities aside, I would immediately contact them and turn back the money, because I wouldn't be able to, enjoy and live all the rest of my life with this money that wasn't mine, and like Jake said, the people who might suffer because I got it, and I would hope that my generosity and my honesty was rewarded in some way, and that I would enjoy, and maybe
Even if-
maybe it'll be
And
You
now
know, and
by
even
no
if it
means.
wasn't rewarded, I would still feel
Of
good.
course.
Hey, like, look, I gave you this money back here. This should go in someone else's pocket, and on someone else's
Right.
table to feed their kids, to put gas in their car, to put food in the house. All that stuff. That's how I would feel about that.
Yeah,
I
agree,
But
but
I would still want to inquire where the money, like, hey, how did this extra $5 million end up in my account? Like, where did this come from? What are you guys doing here?
yeah, but a little reward never hurts. Let's face it.
Yeah.
But you're under no obligation to give you a reward
I say-
for it.
No,
That's
of
why,
course not.
again, I'd put
Of
it
course
into
not.
the court to see where
I
this
gi-
legally
I give-
falls.
I'd give it all back, but $100,000. So here you go.
Yeah, I would kind of like, oh, my math was off. I forgot to carry the 2 when I gave the
Yeah.
money back.
Well, that goes back to keeping the money in a found wallet. You're creating your own reward, and
Right.
Right.
True, but what if you use gas money to
It's
like
either all or
get
nothing.
to bring it to them? Be like, I wasn't gonna make this drive.
But to also be fair, to be fair, I did say I was a 7 on my honesty level on this situation. I said I was a 7. I didn't say I was a 10.
No.
See,
I
these
didn't
are the
say I was a
places
10
that I
either.
am.
I said I was an 8, and I'm being completely honest. Without a court order, that's life changing money. I ain't giving this back unless the court say I have to. You better hurry up because I'm spending fast.
But I will tell you, this is funny
don't
because
spend it fast.
it
Man,
took
if
you a
you
long
spend $8
time,
million
million.
quick, man.
Yeah, that's a
Wow.
long. Yeah,
Bro,
that's
good
that's-
lawyers to fight stuff like that cost a lot of money. A big chunk of that money is going to go to the lawyer that's going to make it to where I get to keep that money.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
my mom said. She's like, if you ever got into some kind of money, like say for example, you win the lottery, first thing you do, you hire a lawyer and you hire an accountant. That's like the first
Yep.
thing you got to do.
First two things.
Let's just go. And this is fun to talk about because it happened to somebody. But what are the odds? What are the odds that this actually happened? And then to have it happen and this guy just disappears is just hilarious
and
to
gets
me.
away with it.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a 1 in a million shot, maybe, or maybe.
Yeah, that's the once
More
in
than
a
that.
lifetime kind of thing.
Yeah.
What's it?
It doesn't.
So I
have
don't
to
know
be
the
awesome.
story. Did he get away with the money? They haven't found him. Is that what the
They haven't
Oh no,
found
they're
him.
not
punchline
gonna
of all
find
this is?
him ever, except in
Oh, okay.
pieces, maybe.
So they knew they made the mistake, and they wanted him to come in because he had actually cashed the check and had already withdrew it all out of his bank account. It's all gone,
Okay.
and they couldn't reverse the transaction. So they asked him to come in. He was gone, and no one's heard from him since.
He was gone as soon as that phone call was done.
Oh yeah, like once I'm sure once he saw that money was in his account, he was like, "Man, I'm packing all my stuff, changing my name, and I'm
He
leaving.
was
I'm getting the hell out
already
of
gone.
Dodge."
I
He
didn't-
made
Yeah.
that phone call from Costa Rica.
He's like, I didn't like you bitches anyway. I'm out.
Right? Like
I'm just
I'd get out of-
I'm just the janitor. What the fuck?
and can you blame him? I'd get out of Dodge as quick as I could too. I mean,
Hell yeah. Depending on who actually owns all that money, they ain't gonna care.
All right, they're not going to care. Well, again, we could play devil's advocate and say that this could have been a small company that used all their expenses to pay this one guy. Here's the thing: what about the person who made the mistake?
Oh, they're dead right now. They're already dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're feeling the heat.
So let me ask the
so many
accountant.
levels.
The accountant in the room. Let me ask the accountant in the room, the actuary, Mr. Marcus. What kind of mistake? What's the repercussions of someone who actually? I use big words today. I see actuary. People don't know what the actuaries are, but I will tell you. But what would happen?
I don't know. I don't know. I might ask this question at work tomorrow, and maybe I can provide some feedback next week. Because I don't
I'd
know.
actually would like to know about that. What would happen to that person who actually made that error in that guy's paycheck with all those numbers? And
This is a
What
true.
would happen
Well, I
if
don't-
you
I don't-
accidentally lost $8 million of the cartel's money?
Megan, were you about to say something? I'd like to. Hear
Yeah,
what you have
but
to
I'm
say.
just kidding. I'm just giving up. I'm too tired to keep up with you guys.
No, Megan.
Wait,
Megan.
I was saying, like, why would the person be killed? Why not just fire the guy who made the mistake?
Oh, no. I was just saying it depends on whose money that actually is. We're talking about Mexico and pesos, so I'm just assuming that the cartel's got their hands on this money somewhere.
Well, I'm not
It
making
is
this.
a large amount.
I'm not making
yeah.
this story up. I'm not. What I'm about to say, I'm not making up because we're having this conversation. But this is a real, true story happened to me. So I have a small business account at a local bank here, and actually they're nationwide. So I went to the bank, and I made a deposit, and I left some money out, and I said I'd like to have this cash back because I have another bank that I had to go deposit that money into. Got home the next day. I'm looking at my account, and the money that went, the check that I deposited was not even showing up. Even if it's a pending status, so the check clears, it was nowhere to be found. So I'm like, okay. I waited till the next day, thinking whatever I was thinking. It still had not shown up. So I ended up trying to call my local branch. I didn't want to go to their big customer service online. Actually, I did go on customer service online. I said, "Hey, I had to deposit a check. I don't see anything pending." And she says to me, whoever was on the chat said, "I'm sorry, but we don't see anything pending on your account." So I'm thinking, oh shit, the government finally caught up with me, and now I got to close the business account and open up another one. Just kidding. But I thought something was going on. So I said, let me just go up to the branch. And it comes to find out that when the guy gave me money back, the check that he actually, the check that was written on, they were a customer of the same bank. He actually deposited the check back into the check, the company that it was drawn on.
Yeah, where it was coming from instead of
Right,
where it was supposed
going
to go
to.
to.
Right. And
He
he
like,
apologized to
out of
me.
dude's pocket and then put it back
Yeah.
into the same dude's pocket.
So when I read the story, it was kind of like, okay, these guys or these people who work on the tellers, sometimes their fingers go a little too fast. They make mistakes. That's why they really have to take their time and look at things before they hit the enter key. But there was no repercussions. I wasn't mad at him because it didn't impact me. It wasn't like I needed to have that check in there to make sure something else was going to cover or anything like that. But imagine if that did happen to someone who had waiting on something for that money to hit for something else to clear, and then that thing didn't clear, and it causes a windfall, and overdraft fees and all that stuff could have kicked in. That's a thing that I would have wondered. I want to know too. Is that fire worthy? Is that fire worthy? Making a mistake like that?
For the
Wouldn't,
bank teller, you mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say being fired. Maybe some kind
They're
of
not. It definitely shows that they're not competent.
maybe some retraining on what they were doing, just to make sure that they don't make that same mistake again.
A
One of
demotion.
two things I can see happening is you're either gonna pull the money back out of their paycheck for the error they caused, or they're gonna get fired if they refuse the compensation for payment.
Well, it was a pretty decent amount of money that the check was for, and it was and it was weird because this is the guy that I actually started the account with. He's a little guy that was in there. He's very friendly. That's why I like banking here. But it was to the point where even the branch manager had came out and started talking to me, and he was apologizing profusely. He was like, "I'm so sorry. This will never happen again. If you need anything, please, here's my card. Here's this card if you can't reach me. And if you ever need anything, please just reach out to us and let us know." And that made me feel better. But again, I'm not the kind of guy that was going to go up there and go, "You guys screwed up my bank account," and blah, 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 blah. Billy Goat Gruff like. But when we're talking about mistakes, when it comes to something like that, what is the repercussions? Because there are times where I have things in my fingertips with some of the accounts that I have. I could shut down a whole company's email system. And if you do that, you're probably going to get fired. No questions about it. You're going to get fired.
I think in this case, like everything else, it's going to come back to money and clout.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's an account of someone at the bank that maybe doesn't have that much money, there isn't that much influence on the bank, I think there's probably a write-up and a warning, and let's not let this happen again. If it's someone that can make a demand, hey, I'm going to pull all my accounts, if this person is still employed here, then that person will no longer be employed there. And that's what it always comes back to, in my opinion.
But
money
should
and
it be that
status.
way? Should it be that
No,
way?
I didn't say it should be. It said it is that way.
Yeah, I get you. I think you're right. I think you're
part
right.
of these things, a warning should be issued. I think, like I said earlier, some mandatory retraining on that position should be part of that. A write-up or a warning or something like that. Just like you said, Vic, so that mistake doesn't happen again. I think that should be part of the, or maybe put on some close watch. Or like before you put a check or cash or whatever in, to really, really check the numbers before you hit that enter key and you're putting that into somebody's account.
Well, I'm more of a optimist, and I always look at people who make mistakes, even in the line of business I'm in, is, hey, we all make mistakes. Let's not make it happen again. And then if I start seeing a pattern, that's when I start saying maybe there's some disciplinary action that needs to be put into play here. Some corrective action is not, we don't say disciplinary action, we say corrective action. Because if you don't correct the action, then we're going to have to start worrying about, talking about termination or something like that. But in this instance, and Vic has hit the nail on the head, I think we live in a society where a lot of people who believe that they have a lot of clout and power based upon how much money they have, and regardless of whatever hardship this person may have and paycheck to paycheck that they live, if they feel as if this person made just a simple mistake, they feel holier than thou and they want to throw a tantrum. It can impact people's lives. I'm not agreeing with that, but I think that's kind of where we live in that kind of like that society. It sucks. It's like we see all these people with these fast food workers. They call them Karens, and they the order's wrong. Somebody got shot because they had too much mayonnaise on their sandwich.
Yep.
It's
Good
unfortunate.
night, silly wabbit.
Yeah, good night, silly. What I was getting ready to type that. Thank you again for joining. I appreciate it.
So, Marcus, are you an enrolled actuary?
No, I'm not an actuarial.
I thought
I,
I.
I, yeah, no, I do have a background in accounting. I'm in treasury finance right now, though.
Oh, okay.
I was just throwing out my big words. I didn't know if people knew I knew big words there, Vic.
Well, I mean, because those of us that have been in the accounting business, um, we always say that a lot of people won't invite accountants to their parties because of how boring and dry we are, and our thing is that we don't invite and actuaries to our parties.
Yeah.
I
So
I'm here to debunk all those stereotypes for accountants.
oh, let me tell you something. I try to do the exact same thing with IT professionals. They keep trying to say that IT guys are nerds and accountants are nerds. Marcus is over here. He'll ninja warrior you, man. He'll ninja warrior you to death. Trying to tell you. Y'all don't let the smooth taste fool you. And Marcus ninja Marcus.
Well, Marcus, if I ever win the lottery, I know who to hire. Then you're first on the call list.
No. All right,
No,
I'll take it.
you got to hire the cameraman because he's going to get you situated with the right lawyer first, and then you go and hire Marcus.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. That's why I said earlier when I was talking. My mom and I are always talking about winning the lottery, and she's like, "Well, just remember, first thing you do, give me half." No, I'm just kidding. She's like, first thing you do is hire a lawyer and hire an accountant. That's like the very first thing you do. So that's why I said, Marcus, you'll be my main man right there. If I win,
I like
I'll
it.
play, I'll play and play and play, but I still lose. It's, that's how the lottery goes. But you're not gonna win if you don't play. So
I keep trying to tell myself I need to play the lottery, and I don't think I've played the lottery in 15 years, maybe. And I got an aunt who lives. I'm going to be going to DC here at the end of this month, and she lives in not in DC, but like in Virginia. And I don't think Virginia has. It's one of those states that's close to DC that does not have um, the lottery. And she always asks me to send her scratch offs, or my cousin to bring her some scratch offs from DC because she loves to play those scratch offs. And if she wins something, do you really think that she's going to give me some money? I don't know if she will do that. I
Maybe
don't
like a
know.
dollar, maybe a fiver.
Like, yeah, here's what you paid for it. I'm giving you that money back, but the rest of the 20 million, it's all mine. So anyway, that's all the topics I had for the night. Jake, did you have anything that you had on your mind? Anything going on that you wanted to talk about tonight?
um, well, in case anybody's wondering, my mom's doing okay. Um, she's still hanging in there. She goes back to work on Monday. Um,
That's good to
other
hear.
than that, just staying busy. I'm actually on vacation this week, so I can actually catch up on some sleep. You
Cool.
know,
Maybe join the
I've,
after party
I've,
tomorrow. Hey, Megan's got to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Megan's got to go real quick, but before she goes, if she can go ahead and give her last little words here, her little parting shots, if you would like. I know you're on mute, but if you're not on the call already right now, you want to say anything, Megan?
Yeah. I mean, all the topics were really good tonight. I really enjoyed hearing different views on them all. Uh, I know that we're going to be talking about this again. The one thing I did want to mention is don't make fun of people with long COVID. The struggle is real. I know Brian would always kind of make fun, like, oh, is this a COVID day? And I'm like, shut up.
Well,
So,
I make a little fun because I actually think I have it, and I kind of want to talk about some symptoms because I make fun of it
Mm.
because I do my brain will just finally drop off of I could have a thought and then all of a sudden it just completely leaves my head. And I kind of like, wait a minute, I used to be a lot sharper than this. And sometimes my witty comebacks aren't as just as snappy as they used to be. And
mine too.
there are a lot of people I know who are entertainers, not personally, but entertainers who've also said that they were smart people and they're like, I'm still smart, but there's a lot of times I
Yeah.
get this fogginess in my head sometimes, and it's just weird.
Yeah,
It
but
is-
is it really COVID or is it just getting old?
Well,
Shut your
it-
mouth. Shut your mouth.
I know. The bitter truth pill.
It is actually. I mean, that's what. So far, I mean, COVID-19 is kind of new to like this whole thing, and I got the virus before the vaccine, so not blaming that. It don't have anything to do with the vaccine. So, um, but it sucks. Like it started with COVID, and it was just instant. Like it's just happening, and it was as well as all the other crap that came with COVID. But it just hasn't gone away.
Hmm.
The fatigue has gotten better, and it's not as often. But man, I used to be a multitasking master, and now I'm just like one thing at a time.
I'm like that even without COVID. I like taking things just one thing at a time. But, if like I can multitask, but I get overwhelmed very easily. So
I want to.
My-
Go ahead, Vic.
Oh, I was just gonna say my feeling is that, no one has any idea what the long-term effects of the disease or the vaccines or any of that is going to be, and however it was created and however it's spread, and everybody's got their own theories on those things too, but what these long-term effects are going to be, nobody really has any idea, and I just we'll find out, until the next one comes along.
We're creating the data as we continue to trek it through this whole thing, and they have different variants of the strain of COVID that are still out there and making its rounds. So
Of course.
you just never know.
Well, as we adapt to each strain, the disease adapts to that, and off we go. Out here where I am, and I don't know if this is a nationwide thing, but there's a flu shot shortage. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but
I didn't know that at all.
yeah, which I don't get it, but so for me it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's what's going on out here.
So real quick, just because I gotta go, and then you guys can continue. Shit. Yeah, I forgot about this.
You sure you weren't?
It sucks, and I don't think multitasking is a myth. I think some people can, and some people definitely can't. So, but
agree.
it's very frustrating. And so when people are just not able to get out of bed, and they don't normally have depression or anything like that, don't give them shit. If it's something that's not all the time, or there's no history of it, but like since getting COVID, they have that. Like, be nice, because it sucks, and it sucks to get dumber overnight. Like that was weird. And now the brain fog, it lifts here and there, but it just when it comes, I'm an idiot. Can't remember a thought. Can't think of common words.
We got you. We got you back. And I still would like to have a conversation, maybe use as a topic to talk about long COVID and some of the people who are out there. Even if you don't like them or watch their channels, I know a lot of news personalities that have had COVID and say the exact same thing that you're talking about.
I haven't seen those. I haven't watched the news, and
well,
at least
one of the guys is a lawyer, commentator, and he has it, and he says the exact same thing that you're saying, where there are bouts of brain fog where when he's on subject matter and he's talking about it, and then there all of a sudden there's just a loss of comprehension. He just kind of loses his train of thought, basically. But again, I'd like to talk to people about COVID. If you had it, if you hadn't had it, do you believe in it still? Do you don't believe in it still? Do you believe in the vaccines? I'd like to hear more information about this. Maybe we'll have that on our next podcast.
Yeah, my stats are being a part of a study, so
nice.
Whoop-dee.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm whatever I can do to be useful. Okay.
Megan,
out, guys.
Before you go,
happy birthday to your mom.
Do you want your daily dose of adorable real quick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we all need that.
That's from my niece's birthday.
Nice.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
Very nice. That's cute.
Right on, bro.
Happy birthday
All
to
right,
your mom,
Megan.
Megan.
Be well until next time.
Babies are always cuter. Will do, Vic. Cameraman, Marcus, of course, Jake and Brian.
Thank you. We'll
Hey,
see you
take
next
care,
time.
Megan.
Farewell.
Take care.
Bye, Megan.
Y'all have a good night.
You too.
See you next week.
Jake, did
Yeah.
you have any parting words, Jake, that you wanted to finish? I know we jumped over the Megan real quick.
Oh, just get like I'm trying to think of what to say. You know, if you're having a tough time, I will say this, but you know, because like I said, I'm going through some hardships right now myself, and I'm just taking it a day at a time. But if you're ever feeling like you're down, you know, just think positive. You know, just hang in there.
All
And
right. That's good advice for sure. Don't let
the storm will pass. Or if you want to just tell yourself, I am the storm. You know, don't let it get to you. I'm just, my dad and I had a pretty long talk yesterday while I was over there, and he kind of boosted my spirits a little bit. So that's why I'm seeing a little bit more positive nowadays. Trying to at least, but you know,
you do look a little lighter in your step, man, and that's you can tell that some weight has been lifted off your shoulders, if not all.
well, in this past week, I've just cut out some toxic things and some toxic people from my life, and you know, it really does make a difference. You know, it really does.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was told. If you're feeling like you have a huge weight on your shoulders and it's because of somebody or something and it's toxic, brush it off, get rid of it, and you'll start feeling a lot better.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I have. So
good for you,
But that's all I got.
Mr. Vic. What do you have to say to say goodnight to, sir?
Well, I don't know what all the topics were earlier, but I'm sure you had a great show as always. Again, I planned on being here earlier, had an opportunity to spend some time with my son, and given the circumstances that we have, we don't have a lot of time to spend one-on-one together, which I think is important. So that's why I was late getting in here. Megan mentioned if people are having issues with long-term COVID, I think she was saying to be understanding and be kind. And I'd like to extrapolate that out to everyone. Because everyone is going through something. Everyone is having some kind of issue right at this time.
Right.
And so be compassionate and be kind. It's free. You know, it costs the same as being the other way. And I wanted to say this, Jake, you know, I've told you if you ever need to talk, reach out to me, and I'll say this in front of everybody, so that way, if it turns out to not be true, they can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you say to me other than hurting yourself or someone else will be kept in confidence. You know, you don't have to worry about me being somewhere else or with someone else talking about it, you know, because I've been in situations where I didn't have someone to talk to. It's a very dark and lonely place.
And if I need to be the intermediary between, you know, you guys passing information among yourselves so that you don't just divulge your personal emails or anything like that to the world, let me know and I can help facilitate that between the two. And
okay.
Sure
well, we are friends on Discord, so
okay.
I think we can do
good.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. But thank you. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And that goes for, you know, anybody, you know, anyone listening. You know, if there's, you know, and anything that you've heard me say over the time that you think I can be of any kind of help, you know, please reach out. And if I can't be, maybe I can point you in the in the right direction. You know, other than that, you know, everybody keep smiling, and you know, be well until next time.
We appreciate that. All right, Mr. Cameraman, you're up next.
One more quick thing. I just wanted to add one quick thing at the end. I want to do it at the end because I don't want people to go off and talk about it.
Okay.
For all those of you out there that are restreaming this and recording it and clipping it so you can do something with it, find something else more productive to do with your life.
All right, there you have it.
Vic hit the nail so hard on the nail on the head so hard on the board he cracked it. You know, that's what I like to say. If you've made a point and somebody says, "Oh, you hit the nail on the head," I said, "Man, you hit the nail on the head so hard you crack the board in half. And that's it. That's a pretty good analogy. I just made that up.
I am going to let that linger as long as Vic wants that to linger because I feel where you're coming from. Sorry. All right.
So it sounded kind of silly,
cameraman,
but just had to share.
Cameraman, what say you, sir, to end the night?
On what specifically?
Just the final parting soliloquy that you would like to say to all of our viewers as we send this off to La La Land.
Remember, when you're going out in public, if you're not arming yourself, you're making yourself a soft target. Just saying, you have the choice to not carry. That's totally your choice. But in doing so, anybody that does can,
Okay.
you as a soft target.
Oh man.
Got Flaky Jake in here asking Marcus to
Exactly
do
what
some
everybody
dad
needs to
jokes.
go to sleep on.
You know,
I almost lost my drink.
I know you almost did a spit take on that one. I saw that. I did see that. Oh, jeez.
Megan's back.
Okay. All right, Marcus. Give us your parting words, sir, and you can feel free to throw in your dad jokes at that at any moment if you feel.
Yeah, I think I'll jump right into the dad joke there. So throughout the day, I'm sure we all take trips up and down the stairs. You're right. I don't know about you guys, but I don't trust stairs in any way. You know why?
What's that?
They're always up to something.
It's true. That's totally
They're
true.
always down to no good.
And down to no good. Right? So,
What
all right,
in
for now,
the world?
for all.
What?
So, for all the Star Wars fans that are on the out there tonight on the panel and in the chat, why did Han Solo enjoy his steak dinner?
Should know this, but I don't.
Hold on, let me think about this.
I should know because I'm a massive Star Wars nerd, but
Me too.
don't know it.
Can you please repeat, Alex, for that?
Yeah, why did Han Solo enjoy his steak dinner? Jake's gonna go get his almanac.
Oh.
Jake,
Oh, damn.
it's about this.
Yeah, he is.
My lightsaber.
What just
That
happened?
thing lit up like a.
What?
I got this one too.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Oh dang!
All right,
Oh,
Jake.
Jake is for real
Sorry,
over there.
sorry, Jake. If we see some amputee crawling around the street in the middle of the night, we know where it came from.
You didn't see anything. All right, we got to
Okay,
finish
Marcus.
the joke. Come
Go
on,
ahead, Marcus.
Come on,
Go
let's do
ahead.
it.
So the answer is, it was Chewy. You're welcome.
I was thinking Chewbacca. I was thinking Chewbacca, but I didn't think about Chewie. I should have said.
All right. Well, last one.
That was
Last
pretty
one.
good, though.
Why don't pirates take a bath before they walk the plank?
I should know this one.
Pirates booty.
What was it again?
Something
What
about
was it again, Marcus?
Wait, why don't pirates take a bath before they walk the plank?
Nope. Don't know.
They just wash up on shore.
I didn't know that one. Never mind. That was
Oh
good.
my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
I'm here every Tuesday, folks. It's been a pleasure.
yeah.
He's
Don't
like,
forget to tip the waitress, right?
drop the mic. Oh, you're getting worse and worse per week. I think you're getting worse. Now you did a real spit take. I just saw that. Well, let me just tell you guys. I know you guys have better things to do in your life than sit here and listen to us just kind of talk and mumble about things and topics. But we appreciate you guys taking the opportunity and wanting to be here with us. If there's anything that you think that we said that have maybe hurt someone's feelings, or you think we said something that you didn't agree with and you would like to talk about it, feel free. But we are here not to try to ostracize, make fun of, or to out anyone or dox anyone. So hopefully that you guys are here and feel like you're in a safe zone where you can discuss and your own viewpoints without having to have threats of any type of retribution based upon your values or your perspectives. So with having said that, I appreciate. Go ahead. Anybody want to say something? Somebody say something? Oh, I thought I heard somebody saying something.
Yeah, an opportunity. I will say that Mr. B said something very funny in the comment section.
What did he say?
He said Jake pulled a weapon on a live stream.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
I'm like, I'm good, oh boy, take pull a weapon.
Paladin,
Watch, I'll do it again.
Oh, coming to a debunker channel near you.
Oh yeah.
Paladin, we appreciate you joining, buddy, as always. Thumper, Liz, of course, aka Jane, I appreciate you joining. We appreciate you. And there was a couple other. Veen was there as well. We even had a couple of new faces. Fernando D was in the house, and also Demonstratively D. I don't think she was ever a part. I've seen her on other channels, but she was the first time here tonight, wasn't it?
She's come in here to troll me before, but we've made up.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to see her then. I'm glad that's the case.
You know who I didn't see? I didn't see Fluffy T Cat or Yum in here tonight. That's kind of disappointing.
Nope, we did not.
I'm okay. Not coming in.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that as well. And to all of you guys, I appreciate you guys, being on this chat with me and offering your valuable opinions. And I hope to see you guys again on the next stream. You guys are not obligated to ever join the after party, but I will definitely be doing an after party talking about the psycho killer, Ed Gein or whatever his name is. So if you guys are up to par and want to talk about that killer, we might be doing that tomorrow night. But as always, Megan, Jake, Vic, cameraman, Marcus, I am Brian. We are your hosts from Drinks and Discussions. You guys have a fantastic evening and a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next